In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in the competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with a Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details, specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with a Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska. Built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com. Don't let anybody tell you.
A little early on that one. You calling the herd before us?
Just the lead bull get his attention.
Yeah.
Nice.
Perked his head up.
Perked his head up.
Brandon and I are there just for meat, so we'll take those guys.
Exactly. The Caribou Call t-shirt design is well on its way. I've received prototype, it's a work in progress, I should say. There's a lot of ideas that I have and ideas that Jamon has.
The template?
And people that have put their ideas. I know that Erica had some ideas from Alaska Outdoor Girl.
Yeah.
Like in like Harry Potter where I don't know if you see we have little kids.
I read
but
every book.
There's like those paintings that have like live motion.
Yeah.
Like the ghost is alive. It would be dope if you could get a shirt that has like the Caribou Call, and everyone's opening it. It's just like
in doing research,
it's like a hologram. I don't know.
Like you start looking up like beer duck calls and stuff like that. I started looking it up, and you can Google it, and they literally have where the call is like attached to a beer can, and people can like blow through it, and it's like Miller Lite.
That's funny.
Because I was like, let me just see like what's out there.
Yeah.
And then Bush Light, and it was always like Bush Light, Miller Light, the Canada boys getting in there, Labatt's Blues, just yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no Caribou Calls though.
No Caribou Calls. No.
We're the only ones interested in that.
Yep, I don't think they're interested in that. Bama.
No. There aren't much caribou running around in Alabama. No.
How you feeling, Jackie?
Yeah, it's coming along. The fog has lifted, like a little sensitive. I was just telling Lee that I took the fat tire bike out for my first 2 rides this weekend in Bicentennial, and I always seem to get lost early in the season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got lost big time. I kept on being like, "Oh, we're just one level above where I thought we were," but that was not the case either time. But then Saturday was really good. It was cold and everything was packed down real nice, and like the Black Diamonds rode real well, I thought.
Yeah.
Now on Sunday, like I had all the Saturday confidence. You know, you kind of get like those micro motion agility back after your first couple rides. So I was like, the second day I was like, oh yeah, it's all Black Diamond today. And the snow, I don't know going from that 5 degrees to the 20. What I don't know the science behind it, but it got sloppy. Do you know what that's about?
Man, just heating up and just moving around. You don't have that grip anymore.
Yeah.
Man, when your front tire goes out, it's lights out, you know. Boom. Right down on the ground.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah, so I did get on some slop coming down. I was a little sloppy too, but coming down a little hill, I did get bailed off into the snow. A little bit of a head over, but I like curled enough that I got my shoulder, and it felt good. Like it didn't hurt. Like the concussion.
Tuck and roll or something if you can.
I don't know. What is the protocol?
Oh, so I bet that was worrisome, though.
Yeah. Oh, no. When I started going
like,
off, I was like, this is trouble. So I kind of I don't know. I didn't do judo, but I imagine it was like a really weak effort at a judo roll.
Got it.
So I rolled kind of forward to the right and then,
Yeah.
but it was in 2 feet of snow. So it wasn't like,
Plopped in
The
there
snow
nice.
helps, man.
Yeah,
Snow
yeah.
biking.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the snow bike wipeouts must get gnarly in the spring. Like if you go early morning, and so it was cold in the morning, thawed out in the afternoon, and then the sun goes down and it gets cold fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Like that
Goes-
crusty.
Yeah. Goes to like 15 degrees and it was like 38. And then it like drops. And then you're like riding around, or you go on that early morning ride and you eat shit and you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
You're like, I should probably wear my helmet today.
Yeah, dude. But the other thing that was good about Saturday versus Sunday, it gave me a chance to test out like my own air pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Because like the change in the snow conditions, and with a little bit more pressure on Saturday, it was fine. But with the sloppiness, I was like, okay, I'm going to play with dropping the air pressure some, and it made a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I play around with that air pressure all the time, and you just pull it down a little bit, and you get that little, like, you hit those bumps, you just roll right through them, and you get that extra grip on there.
Yep.
But your bike is definitely not as fast.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
You're
man.
chugging. Like,
You're like chugging. But going down hills is sweet because you're just, like, glued to the trail. You know?
Yeah. You definitely get more surface area on that tire, like width-wise and lengthwise, I think.
Oh, true. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but you're right, lengthwise.
Yeah. And, but I'm not real fast. And I certainly wasn't trying to halt, because this is like through the black spruce forest, basically. And so if like I do make the wrong call,
You're gonna go right
like
into a tree.
post concussion, like
Yeah.
I got another one of those, and
Yeah.
that's like the last thing in the world I want is another one of those.
The tree will win.
Yeah. So it's nice to get that heart rate back up a bunch and do something I really love doing, getting on the snow bike. And then, but I'm out of hockey for a while. It'll be another month
Yeah,
or
there's
two.
too much danger possible.
Yeah. Well,
Too risky.
Possible danger.
I could not take a hit right now. That I'm very sure of that.
It's probably a big confidence booster to wipe out and
Yeah.
kind of like get up and dust yourself off and be like, hey,
Yeah.
all right, it's like, because falling can be like a controlled thing and not hurt, or you can eat it hard and be floppy and weird, and then
totally.
like your body articulates and hurts, or you hit something weird,
Yep.
So it's probably kind of like, okay, I'll be, I'll get better. I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, also, the bike is like self-induced fall versus out there on the ice. You never know you're going to
Yeah.
catch someone.
Who's gonna
Yeah.
hit
some
you?
other
Yeah.
guy.
Could be
It's more of a
accidental.
slow fall than just guy
Yeah.
smashing you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Not worrying about someone else for sure.
Yeah.
The sledding helped a lot, because the week before I brought the kids to this Kincaid sledding hill and used those big ice fishing sleds. Those are so fast.
Like a toboggan
And I
type
was
deal.
like, yeah. Like what are the brands?
The jet sled.
Yeah, the jet
Oh,
sled.
yeah.
The jet sled. So, I was watching, I was like, it doesn't look that bumpy. And I wanted to test the concussion a little bit. And And I was like, I could bail or like stick my arms out to slow us down. And so I went, and then, at the Kincaid one, it has that second jump at the end.
Yeah.
And we went on that, and I felt fine. And that was like the biggest confidence booster. Like, okay, I'm getting to the next step. Because the week before that, it would have been like sensitive inside the skull.
Yeah. So you didn't try to go to the right?
No.
That's where my kids want to
Oh, that steep short
to
thing
the
on-
right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Then you got to walk out of that.
Man, I think I got like 4 feet of air
I
last
guarantee
spring when
you
I did
staying
that.
there for about 5
Oh,
minutes. One
dude.
kid's going to come out crying because he went that
Yeah.
way and
Yep.
just got mangled.
Air knocked out of him.
Yeah. It's fun, though.
Were you guys out ice fishing, or would you guys do?
I did. I went to a couple lakes. I went to Little Campbell and I went to Jewel Lake. Jewel Lake, there was no success. Campbell Lake was good. That was actually my first time going to Campbell Lake, also called Beer Can Lake.
Yeah,
I guess
Beer
that's the
Can.
road.
Yeah.
That was nice,
I wonder why
man.
it's called that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
High school kids back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it is that. That's being sarcastic.
Caribou Call Lake.
Oh, yeah. It was the Caribou Call
yeah,
before the
yeah.
Caribou Call there.
Yeah.
And I'm guarantee you they were drinking Bush for sure.
Well, now they're bringing the beer cans home to recycle them, because the youth cares about the environment. So that now it could actually be the Caribou Call instead of the beer can.
I used to collect
nice.
recyclable aluminum when I was little to make money. I mean, I
About
think
5
if
cents?
you brought it back and you told kids, hey, this is 10 cents, like, take it
yeah.
home, you get 10 of them, you got
Adds
$1,
up. It adds up.
Yeah. That was my little hustle when I
Yeah,
was
I didn't fish, man.
elementary school.
I watched football
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, good for you.
Remember you called me and I was like, yeah, I had some plans. I was going to work on some heads in the garage, and my garage was freezing. I mean, even with the heater, because it was like 10 below at my house in the morning.
Yeah.
And I had to wait till the afternoon. Well, by that time, I was pretty comfortable in my sweatpants doing puzzles and coloring with the kids watching football. I was like, So it was actually my first Saturday where I didn't do anything at all.
Nice.
Didn't have hockey practice. Didn't have to run anywhere. I didn't even start my truck. Like, it was just
Nice.
the most relaxing Saturday in like months.
Heck yeah.
Months.
good.
I like, I'm not, I didn't realize it until I was like, wow, I didn't do shit today.
Yeah.
I love this.
It's probably a good welcome to, going into holiday season when it's going to become nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Except
can't
for
wait.
I told Rena, don't be, leaving cookies and cakes and stuff around the house this time of year.
As
man.
you bring like 48 cookies
Well,
to the studio.
I made a promise to the kids because Dad ate all the cookies last weekend that I had to replenish. So this is an exception.
Oh, so whatever's left over tonight going back there?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
got
truth
it.
be told.
So you baked all those, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right before I came.
And baked.
Still steaming.
Are
Cars
you,
loving, thumbing, loving.
question about that. Are you taking any new clients for your Euros and stuff like that? Or
I mean, I would. Jack has got his moose ready for me.
Yeah.
I'm basically just like in full procrastination on finishing a bunch that I have. I've got like 6. I got a bison right now that a work friend is pretty eager to get back, and so I'm getting pretty close to getting that wrapped up. That's turned out really cool. Actually learned how to remove the horns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because remember
Jake.
No, Ira was on.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and he gave me his bull, right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, you got to get those horns off. And I'm like, being a rookie, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I know any like taxidermists listening to this and be like, duh. Yeah, you got to take the horns off. I'm like, well, why you got to do that? Well, because there's flesh and a membrane in there that just doesn't dry up. It's sealed. So it'll rot. And then you can get, bugs. And I don't know that it would be as much of an issue in Alaska, but if you're down in the States and you had a critter on the wall and it had any sort of like flesh that was rotting inside, it would probably attract some problems.
And it might reek.
That too. Yeah. And so, his deal was like, oh, I'll throw it in a bag and let it rot. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I like looked up that deal and I'm like, that is nasty. Like, just put it in a trash bag and water and like throw it in the corner of the garage or in a tub or something. And if you don't freeze, say down in the States or something, you could just have it in the backyard. And I'm like, dude, that's just nasty. So I actually I didn't come up with it, but I tested it out on a kind of a long simmer with the horn in the water, like one at a time, like almost at a boil, but like a simmer for about an hour. So not to break down the horn or like diminish or hurt the horn. Yeah. Because it's more like a sheath over the horn base of like the bone, right? Right. Like, so if you can imagine that ram right there, you take it off. It's got like a 6-inch little like base bone horn inside, and then there's like cartilage and stuff to hold it. So I like did a boil. Then I soaked it in water for like 5 days in a big tub.
Oh, really?
Actually, courtesy of Daniel, I still got that tub. Comes in real handy.
Hang on,
I got you.
Continue to drop off some.
I might have to just get you.
Are you gonna get some?
But anyway,
Pound your chickens.
yeah. But anyway, I soaked it in there, and then actually watched a guy on YouTube.
Thanks, Carlo.
Yeah. Watched a guy on YouTube do an antelope, which looked like it was way easier. But what I do is I did do the boil, do the soak, and then I had to break the horn away from the base. So I took like a Havalon and kind of like cut around it, and I took a pick tool and I just kind of pried up, and then soaked it again. So like water was now able to get inside, and then I pulled it out, and then I banged on the horn with a soft rubber mallet. Dung, 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 to break up that flesh inside, and then came right off, man. I was so happy.
Really?
I was
Sound like
yes.
it came right off. That sounded like so much work.
You know that
You're right. It did not just come off. But when I got that, like when I figured out how to get the water in, and then it finally started like breaking loose, and then when it finally came off, it was like 6:30 in the morning. I got up early. I ran upstairs like, babe, come here. She's just like, comes down, with her coffee. She's like, cool. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is I overcame such a huge feat here.
It took me so long.
Oh, and I'm like, I didn't have to rot it out. So, I cleaned it all up and I'll bleach it, and then I'll reattach the horns. And then I was like really, really nervous about like repositioning them exactly where they need to go. So I like took a bunch of pictures and measurements.
I got a set back from a guy that I paid one of my first caribou. And I feel like it's off.
It might be.
And I didn't really know that was the process till maybe like 5 years after that.
Yeah, you knock them off.
And I go back and look at it. I'm like, I looked at the picture and I looked at the thing. I was like, it is off.
Yeah.
I wonder why that thing.
It's easy to do. It's really easy to do. And like when we found that ram on the wall right there, its horns are already falling off.
And they separated naturally.
Yeah. And then I just cleaned it all up and reattached them, and they literally just slipped right where they needed to go. It was easy. So on this bison, I was like, oh man. I called a taxidermy buddy of mine, Tad Gilbert, Name Your Game, awesome taxidermist. Check him out. He was like, yeah, you got to take measurements. So I was like all freaked out before I removed it. First off, I was so nervous about even like doing this. And so I take all these pictures, and I got a million photos on my phone. And then I do it all. I take them off, and I'm like, I kind of set them down, and I'm like, oh no, they're like swapped around. So I I put them on there, and I'm like, oh, they can only go one way because they go like that. So I'm like, whew, okay, oh man, I was all excited and just set them down and picked it up.
But could you mix up the left and the right one?
Well, I thought when I set them down, I was like, oh no, if I'm not careful. So I set it up and put them on. I'm like, okay, and I was like, well, hold on a minute. So I switched around, and I'm like, you can't mess it up. Like,
well, have you ever been down the bad road taxidermy hole?
Oh, I remember
my dad's first sheep is so bad.
I remember Scooby Doo, man. Remember that wolf, the Ketchikan, the Prince of Wales wolf or something. This guy got the most monstrous, beautiful wolf, and he got it back, and it was straight Scooby Doo, man. I got a smile, and its eyes are 2 inches apart. I wish I could find that picture, man. It was bad. Anyway, I'll wrap this up. I put the horns on, and I was like, all right, and I was gonna start taking my measurements to make sure it matched, and I'm like, wait a minute. They go right where they could. So I could see maybe different bison at certain angles. Now, when I took the measurements, they were not right. The curve was one was back. So I'll do my best, and it'll be off by a freaking smidgen of an inch.
Yeah.
You would never notice. But I when I looked at it, I was like, oh, when they grew, they're not right. They're not symmetrical. No. Yeah. So I felt really confident now. Now I'm gonna do IRAs. I'm like, oh man, I know exactly what to do. And
well, so cool that you're learning.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I really regret not doing some more of the work in the fall or when I had weather, because now I'm like, well, I'll just do it in my garage. It's like a cool winter project, and it's been so cold. And I think I'm just used to these warm winters we've had, where my garage was not that cold. I could turn my heater on and get it to 65 degrees in there, good to go. Well, you're mixing chemicals and doing all that stuff, trying to get things to a boil. it takes a long time when it's 5 degrees, below 0, 10 degrees. Everything takes so much longer and it's harder. Plus, I got to get all my shit out of the garage to do my work.
Yep.
And then bring it back in. I pulled my wheelers outside. They died. The batteries died. I'm like, because, it was like 5
Sounds
below.
like you need a shop.
I do. I'll get there. But
Before we move on this topic, I want to. I was actually talking to a friend of mine, Lacey, on Instagram, lacy.lace, LACI.LACE. I want you to pull it up real quick because
Lacy.lace.
Yeah, she's doing. I mean, she's always been an artist and does like cool stuff, and she started doing skull art. So I want you guys to look at this. I've never seen this type of things that she's adding to these different art pieces, and I told her I had some like caribou stuff and some other skulls that she could work with.
She's got a private account, unfortunately, and I don't.
Oh man,
You have to take some like snapshots.
She's got like 3,800 posts though, man. That's pretty cool.
Well, I'll just show you pass my phone so you guys can see it. And basically, this is like one of her things. This is a beaver one, and what she did was she pretty much painted the teeth like gold, and the rest of the head is black. And she puts on like crystals and different crazy stuff like that.
That's cool.
And that's like stuff that she's selling.
Yeah, that's super rad.
It's just way different. I never seen like anything like that. It's always some dude who did something like, Brandon, check that out. That's a beaver that she did.
Oh, wow.
So anyone that's interested in checking that out, it's LACI.LACE. She's selling them, and she's probably looking for more art to make with more heads. She's not like a hunter or nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know where you'd randomly get a skull. Can you go to get a
a
skull?
You just find a trapper.
Amazon, man. Amazon.
Trappers will get a handful of these every spring.
Yeah.
You get trappers that'll.
Well, I'm sure she got it from her dad or uncle or somebody like
maybe
that.
she traps.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I doubt it, but maybe.
Yeah,
Lacey, you trapping out there? I don't know.
Yeah,
but I told her I had a caribou that I wanted her to like just do and just see what happens with it.
That'd be pretty cool.
Could you make the caribou look bigger?
Yeah, just add on. Can you add all the gemstones on the end?
Extends the points out 17 inches.
So I had seen some skull art in the past, and one of those sheep that I have, Brandon knows which one, but I think I showed you pictures of what I want to do to it. Now, it's taken me 5 years to not do it. So hopefully like within the next 5 years I actually start. Yeah. But they like take a Dremel tool and they cut out different layers of depth in the skull, and you can do anything you want. I'd want to do like Polynesian designs. And then based on the depth that you go through, you dye it different colors and let different dye set in, and then you wipe it clean. So it kind of has like a light dye in all the different layers, gives it depth. Yeah. And then, but it still has the European appearance. And it just seemed like a classier way to, the European mounts look pretty classy, but another classy option. And then like something that you put your hand to, kind of like what you're doing. Yeah. And anyway, so I really want to do that to that last sheep that I got, but
that's the big one that you got with Pops, right? Yeah. That thing's a beauty.
Yeah. I think we go with that one. We go what's the designer? Hardy or
Ed Hardy?
Yeah, and just go full bedazzle.
Oh, full bedazzle. Yeah.
Like the jeans. Like the jeans.
Yeah.
Hey, Lacey, she might be able to get that going for us.
Lacey, we need a bedazzled sheep, please.
Little apple bottom jeans.
Oh, man. Well, welcome to Alaska Wild Project, episode 42. We have Lee Tron Bolling here from Single Track Advocates. Instagram is at Lee Tron Bolling, BOLLING, all one word. And the Single Track Advocates is one word too, Single Track Advocates. That's on Instagram, right. singletrackadvocates.org if you're trying to get on the website. Lee, thank you for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited. This is awesome. We got a great setup here.
I'm mega stoked. Since we started the podcast, this is like one of you're one of the guests that I wanted to have the most.
Yes.
Oh man. Well, let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
One of the names that have been thrown around a lot, and we've said that about a handful of guests, and you were like a front runner way early because we did start in February.
Yeah.
right in the middle of winter. Well, kind of toward the tail end of winter, but I'm thinking that must be a really good snow biking month because you're starting to get daylight back. It's warming up.
Yep.
The snow's really set in.
Yeah, a lot of bluebird days.
And you were going hard like every other day, right?
I think that almost every recording I had ridden right before. Like up until the snow was gone.
Yeah. You and Annie came in that one time all sweating.
Yeah,
I was like, what are you guys doing?
All right, we were like, we gotta get out quick.
We were riding. I was like, what?
Yeah, but so like as we're outdoor enthusiasts here. One of the things that I feel like my family did really well, my dad and now my brother and I, because we grew up that way, was utilize what's around us and get outside every day.
Yeah.
And when we were growing up here, there was only so many things you could do. And just for example, last week I was out biking with my dad and, we were skiing that day, and he was like, Anchorage is one of the only towns, not the only town in the world that you can, mountain bike from your house, ski from your house, go hiking big mountains, and then also ride your bike to work. Like the trail system. And he's like, it's just amazing. And I feel like I have that perspective every time I go out on our stuff. It's just, I feel so blessed, especially after leaving the state for college and coming back, that we have these options. And it's to grow up here and not have as many options and now have this sick trail system for mountain biking for both summer and winter. And then now we're talking to the guy that is basically you've thought of this and executed it. So it's really cool to get to hear about,
Well, before we get to the history on the single track and more on Lee, I want to just say that Lee has the most badass middle name I've ever heard.
I know I missed it. I was in and out of the studio.
His middle name is Tron.
It's not Tron, it's Joseph. But there's a story behind Tron.
Okay, all right.
So check this out. So I graduated Reno college in Reno in 2005, and it was the winter, dead of winter, right before Christmas, vacation and everything like that. So my buddy Pat Tomko and I, we roll up into his like old school Toyota truck, Tacoma. We roll up
Yoda gang.
Yeah, Yoda. roll up from Reno all the way up to Anchorage through the, super dark, cold, nasty, sweeping on the side of the roads, like, minus 10, it sucked. But our buddy gave us like one CD, and we had one CD this entire drive, and it was Deltron 3030. The funky Homo sapien. And we listened to that on repeat like the entire way. And so when I got back to, home, which was in Palmer with my folks, I was like, okay, I'm done with college. I need to get like an email address, right? Because I had like an old Hotmail and like the UNR one. So I'm like, I'm gonna go Gmail, and so I'm like Lee Bolling. I'm like, already taken. I'm like Deltron, Leetron at gmail.com, and it had it, and I was like, oh man, this is all mine. So I took it, and then
email to this day,
still got it, man.
That's
Tron,
awesome. Dude, that is an amazing album, dude. That
so
Deltron
good.
3030.
So good.
I got it right here, dude.
So
I have the instrumental version too.
Oh,
because we
nice.
used to just spit raps to that one, dude.
Oh, I
just
bet.
go, dude.
That's a good idea.
Awesome. The instrumental version is just amazing.
How do you even get the instrumental version?
I don't know. I had it on CD.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had it on CD, but that one is awesome. Okay, so not Tron, Joseph. All right, we'll stick with Tron because
it's way cooler.
Yeah, I mean Joseph works.
Yeah.
The Tron.
I'm a fellow Josepher.
The
Are you
story.
You're Jackie Joseph.
I'm John Joseph.
John Joseph.
Yeah. Oh, you never
Jingleheimer?
heard the John story, the Jack story?
What?
No.
Do we want a rabbit hole for a second?
Yeah, let's
Do
go.
it.
Come on.
This
we're
is
going
actually
middle names.
this is actually like, if you hear that after this story, you're like, okay, we know John Lau after this. So my dad's John Lau. So when I was born, they're like, oh, we'll name him John after him, and we'll call him, but different middle names, so not John Jr., and we'll call him Johnny. And so after, like, I don't think my dad liked me being named John. He thought I should be named Jack. Anyway, so like I'm like 8 months old. He gets a phone call, and he's like doing oil stuff at the time and like on call all the time. So they get a phone call late at night or whatever, and my mom answers it, and it's like, "Oh, John, it's the phone's ringing." And he's like, "Which one?" Like just like really aggressive. And she like looks at me, and I'm like 8 months old, and she looks at him, and she like doesn't know what to say. And then he's like, "That's it. I'm done with this. It's too confusing. We're calling him Jack." And so I've been Jack since. And so
that's your how legal name is John, though?
Yeah.
What the?
John Joseph.
I can't believe I've known you this
not as cool as Tron.
I probably have heard this story. I just don't remember.
It's a funny story.
So is it Jonathan?
No, it's John.
Just John.
Just J-O-H.
Yeah.
John.
J-O-H-N, yeah.
Oh.
Do you have a middle name, Brandon?
No, I just go with Brandon Fifield.
No,
middle
you
name.
have one.
Yeah, of course I do, man.
What is it?
James.
Okay.
We got a lot of J's going on here.
We do. I think it was an 80s thing, boys.
You're right, yeah.
No.
No?
Mine's not way far from it.
It's not Jay?
Burrito?
It's not Jose?
Air burrito?
No. Alfonso.
Alfonso.
Oh,
I knew that.
Dude.
You should choose that as the first name, man.
That's my new email, bro. Alphonse.
Yeah.
Fonzie.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fonzie.
Well, it's like it's my dad's middle name, his dad's middle name. It's like
that's
it's
cool.
Mateo's middle name.
That's how I was too. Like my dad would have been Milton Joseph Bolling the fourth, and my grandma was like, "No, we got to end that." So we got to end it sometime. So he's like Carrie Joseph, and then I got the Joseph after that. So,
it's always after
Joseph
like a
Club.
family. My mom's little brother, my uncle Jimbo, was named James, and so I got his name. And he was actually tragically killed in a car accident the day I was born.
Oh, my
Yeah, which is
life
crazy.
for life.
Yeah, so it was one of those like, it's kind of like, it's just James, but it's kind of magical,
Yeah.
kind of like
You got that connection
to the family. Yeah, because
Yeah.
when you say the name on that side of the family, it's in remembrance of Jimbo, which is a very beloved family member in that 7 kids in that group. So
Does James
Old
go Jimbo?
Jimbo Butcher.
Does James go Jimbo? Is that like like?
I mean, there's only like one Jimbo in the family, so
But
I
I'm
don't
saying
think I
like,
got the.
like you know how some middle names like Richard or something is Dick or other things.
yeah.
Well, so he was James Butcher was his name,
But is James go Jimbo?
I think it goes Jim.
yes.
I think it goes Jim.
No,
Jim,
okay,
right?
yes. So James goes Jim, like Robert and Bob.
Okay.
and then Jimbo
Is the nickname for
another
Jim.
nickname for Jim.
okay.
But Jimbo stuck.
Right.
So like all growing up, it was like the family's talked about Jimbo, and then as I got older, I'm like, oh, James Jimbo, I get it now.
That's
the same guy.
Yeah, it's the same guy.
The
My
salt
nickname is so
swat.
special. But and I think my grandpa tried to go with BJ. Like, we're gonna call him BJ and make it stick. And then the rest of the family's like,
No, we don't like that one.
We're not gonna. That's not gonna work.
Don't do that.
You don't force like nicknames.
just
Those
comes.
are like a natural thing.
Yeah.
I think my brother tried to give my daughter Kennedy a nickname. Wanted to call her Kenny before she was born. I was like,
Nice try, dude.
I don't think you just give her a nickname before she's born. I think it just like happens. So her nickname is Kiki.
Yeah.
Kiki Bear.
I like that.
Well, her cousin, who's only 2 years older than her, when she was born, she could not say Kennedy, so she said Kiki Bear. So then that's, that's how a nickname is made. Like you don't just like,
Oh, yeah.
like make one.
Well, that was an hour's worth of Scott Gomez's podcast, so we had to cut out
Yeah, that's right.
the nickname thing.
Yeah.
That thing was a blur, man. Oh my God, dude.
Hell yeah.
That was a fun rabbit hole, though.
That was
Yeah,
good.
all right,
That was
all
good.
right.
Or should I say John?
Yeah. Let's just go back to Jack. Or the milkman.
We got John and
The
Tron.
Fonz.
The Fonz. Yeah. I think some new nicknames are going to be birthed from this conversation.
Yeah.
Switch my handle.
All right. So back to Lee, man.
Lee, let's get a little history on Lee, man. Where you from? Where you grew up? Your love for biking and all that stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. So, born in Alaska, was born in Nome.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah, my parents were Jesuit volunteers up there. My dad worked at the radio station. He was the DJ there. My mom was a nurse, and then they were only going to stay like 1 or 2 years, and they were up there for a long time. But I was born up there, and then when I was 5, we moved, and then moved to Palmer, and did all my elementary through high school in Palmer. And just growing up, I just loved biking. I mean, I started biking up in Nome on the gravel roads up there, like no helmet. No one wore helmets back then.
Right. Yeah.
So on a BMX,
They didn't have them.
Yeah,
There was
old
no
BMX,
helmets.
old Huffy.
Oh, Huffy. Oh, keep it USA.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, know the Huffy.
hell
But
yeah.
man, I just loved just biking when I was a kid. I remember me and my buddies, like the best time was in the spring when the gravel road would like in Palmer would thaw and be dirt again, but you still have these huge snowbanks on the side.
Yeah.
And so we played stuntmen where you just like build a jump and just like wreck hard into these, into these drifts. It was so sick. Great memories of that. So,
Yep.
so anyway, yeah, so I did, high school there and then went out to Reno for college and that was great. I actually brought my mountain bike with me there and shredded around out in Reno, which was great.
Yeah.
So what'd you major in there?
I did applied math.
Applied math. Oh,
Yeah.
sharp cookie then.
Dude,
Wait,
I-
out of Palmer High School?
Yeah, you know it.
Palmer Moose.
Palmer Moose, man. We will stomp you.
We will stop.
Yeah.
Is that the call?
Playing football against these guys and they're
man.
all day over here.
No matter what Palmer High School, what sport, man, they always brought it, dude. I remember the soccer team was like
hosses
just
too,
big
man.
boys out there.
Yeah, we had a pretty good team. Yeah. But yeah, Reno is great. Love that place. High desert. It's like, up in Tahoe, you go ski powder day and then you come back to Reno and you'd be in like board shorts.
Yep.
It's just crazy.
It was a cool place to go.
So love that. And
Was there good trail systems down there for mountain biking?
yeah, it was, it's pretty good. It's funny when I grew up, there was no like quote unquote like mountain bike trail that I ever rode.
Yeah,
I was like,
mountain bikes were like not really a thing.
maybe they were in some part of the world, but not where I grew up. It was like everyone had like a BMX bike or whatever.
80s, 90s was like BMXs. Like if you had a mountain bike, you're like, I kind of felt like I was dorky because I rode up with my buddies and they're all on a BMX.
Yeah,
I'm
all with
I
like a
just have this mountain
Diamondback
bike.
or a...
Yeah.
Yep.
So it wasn't until I was in high school that I actually got like a mountain bike and I took that. It was an REI Ponderosa Novara.
Nice.
So sick.
Yeah.
With the V brakes.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh,
What
the
color?
V-brake.
Rigid.
Lots of tread.
Oh, it was orange fading to yellow.
Oh, it had that fade.
Oh, the fade in the middle there
wow.
with yellow grips.
They got extra faded when the sun faded it more.
But when in Reno, it was pretty cool because you're in the high desert, and there was some cool single track there, and that was the first time I ever really was on a single track trail, and it was obvious that mountain bikers were using it because there was all of a sudden you're like, whoa, there's kind of this roller thing here. There's some rocks you can go over, and so it was pretty cool, and I just kind of got addicted to it where just between classes and when I wasn't skiing, because mostly I would just ski as much as I possibly could, would go and ride the trails up there. And
Yeah.
so
Were there any in that park? What's it right off of, is it Jefferson right there?
oh yeah, Rancho Park. Yeah, you go. Do you know where the N is in Reno?
Yeah, yeah.
There's the big N on the hill there. So they're back in there.
Okay.
Back on Peavine Mountain.
Yep.
Back in there.
All right.
So you've obviously been to Reno.
Well, I went to Reno my freshman year in 99, but I was just kind of getting into mountain biking at that time, and I didn't know to bring my bike. It would have been one of those things like I would have brought my bike the next year.
Yeah.
But then I switched schools.
Yeah.
So you just borrow a bike to ride around that time?
In Reno? No, I walked. Yeah, I skied a lot, though.
Oh, okay.
That was like the year of skiing and snowboarding for me.
Gotcha.
Oh man.
Tahoe, like Fridays, we had similar classes, like being an engineer, applied math, like high science classes. And all the Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes at normal colleges in Reno in the spring, those are all Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday. No Fridays because we all had ski class.
long weekends.
So we go 3 day skiing every weekend.
Badass.
Oh
dude.
man, yeah. It was so sick.
Yeah, it was cool.
And so you would drive down there?
Well, you could do two things. You could, if you had buddies with cars, because I was a cheap college kid, didn't have my own car.
Yeah.
You could go with them, or the school. If you signed up for the class, it was like $125. You got free passes and a bus ride.
Oh, perfect.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Just pack a bag and
shuttle
go.
You
for
remember
it.
the bus that used to pick people up at Sears Mall?
or cars, Huffman, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I was on the Sears Mall ride. My mom would just
Oh,
love
to take you
drop
up to
us off, dude.
Alyeska?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't go, but I know lots of friends that did it. But
She's like, your brother's coming with you.
Take care of them.
Drag his
Here's
ass around.
$5.
Supposed to feed us all day.
Buy us some curly fries. Yeah, or the jolt. Remember the jolt?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, we're getting jolt.
Yeah. So after Reno, back to AK?
Yeah, I graduated Reno, came back here, and
To
you know,
work?
yeah, well, I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was like
Okay.
one of those kind of, I graduated and I got this degree in math, and then everyone's like, "Oh, are you going to teach math?" I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not going to teach math."
Good for you.
And
Go there.
and I was like, I just want to know as much as I can about stuff. And anyway, I started to get into like water resources my last senior year, and was taking a bunch of those classes. And so when I went to Palmer, that's where my home was. I got a job at HDR doing hydrology, like water resources stuff. So that summer, 2006, I moved into Anchorage, and that was the first time I moved to Anchorage. Was in 2006. So
Is that where work was?
that's where work was. Yeah,
Okay.
right downtown. So.
Nice.
And yeah, it was cool. It was cool coming to the big city, because living in Palmer, it was always like we came here for Costco and to see my cousins.
Yeah.
And man, I got lost when I first had to come in here and drive. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, you thought you knew where stuff was, right? And then you get into town, you're like, oh, I don't actually know where anything is.
And then weird stuff where like International Airport Road doesn't hit the highway.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
And
get
you're
you all
like,
lost.
I'm like trying to get to the airport. I'm like, I don't know. Where do you go? It's so hard.
I used to get the Seward Highway and International all mixed up because it was like kind of like well, International in Minnesota is like an expressway, and then there's the Seward Highway, which connects to another highway kind of through Fifth Avenue, but Minnesota doesn't. Well, I guess it kind of does. It connects up to the Seward Highway.
Just weirdly.
Yeah, but when I was like first learning how to drive, I would be like, wait a minute, am I supposed to be on International or? You always
It's funny
thought,
you guys bring that up, man. I had like the opposite experience. I remember it vividly as a kid, thinking and telling my parents, "You guys could probably drop me off anywhere in the city, and I will find my way home."
You'll know how to get
because we
back.
would just ride our bikes everywhere as kids.
Yeah.
Like we lived by Lake Otis and Dowling over there.
Midtown.
And I would ride my bike everywhere. I would be at Spinard Lake, before it was Lake Hood, and you can swim there. I would ride my bike all the
Good old
time
days.
over there. Diamond Center. I'd be all the way at Penland Park. I'd be all the way at Flat Top.
Yep.
Just riding my bike everywhere, and I just felt like you could drop me off anywhere, and I would know it.
Well, there's like less roads too.
That's true.
Elmore, there's like more back road type
Yeah.
stuff.
I
than
took a
there
new
used to
road
be.
the other day. When you're going down 100th, then you go around that thing, and there's that church there, and you keep going.
Oh,
I've never been on that road.
It cuts through.
Yeah, I was
Over
in
to
Minnesota.
Target.
I had no reason. I was like, I'm just going to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I was supposed to go to Costco, and I'm like, I'm just going to drive straight and see where this goes.
Yeah, it's been in there
These
for
are right
I
to
think,
King
like
Street.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Probably longer actually. It just feels.
Is it been that long? And I
Yeah, a
haven't-
couple of years.
Well, if you don't have a lot of reasons to go drive there, why would you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
It used to be a
So-
snow pit, so.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of wood still, like on the right.
Yeah.
Is there trails in there?
I don't know.
That would be
yet.
a little pretty
Not
sweet.
yet. Yeah.
There will be.
After this podcast.
That's right.
That's right.
Oh, man.
So you come back, you go to Palmer, you get the job in Anchorage, and then let's go from there.
Yes. Okay. Man, this is great. So let's see here. Working and
Are you mountain biking at this time a lot? Or
no, I'm not. I have my mountain bike from college. I brought it back. And actually, I remember that summer in 2006, my friend takes me out to Kincaid. She's like, "Oh, let's go bike at Kincaid." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, sweet." So we go out there, and there's really no mountain bike trails out
Yeah,
there.
it's just a ski trail.
It's just ski trails. And so we went and we biked Horseshoe Loop, like the ski trail. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the lamest thing I've ever done. This is horrible.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And because I was in college, I was used to riding all that single track.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
sick.
right.
And so the only time I really used my mountain bike was when we would go like as a group of friends, we go ride like Resurrection or Johnson Pass or one of those long trails.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of a hardcore ride, right?
Yeah, pretty long ones, 20 plus miles,
Yeah.
But then I met my wife to be that year as well. We both worked at the same spot. Her name's Colleen. She's badass.
What up, Colleen?
And
Colleen.
so we, and most of my life around that point was just like we would be doing a lot of trail running, hiking, rafting, and then in the wintertime, like tons of backcountry skiing and camping and stuff like that. So not a lot of biking, really. And then I went and did a program down in Prescott, Arizona, for a fall in 2007.
Biking's huge down there.
It's so huge, and so I brought that same bike.
Yeah,
And that's high desert, high country.
Yeah.
Kind of like, is it higher than Reno? Or is that
It's about the same. It's about a mile high or something like that around that thing. Brought all, and you didn't ask me about the name of my bike, but I named it Falcore after the luck dragon.
Oh, you had named your bike?
I named my bike.
No, I didn't.
I was actually curious about Colleen's middle name.
I'm going to save that one for later.
Okay.
There you go. Good answer, Lee. Well, hold on. That bike's name was what?
Falcore.
Falcore.
After the luck dragon in the never ending story.
Yeah,
Dude, I tried to watch Never Ending Story with my kids. Snooze
for
fest.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Like
I
I
was like,
never
what
could
the
get on board with that.
hell?
Dude. My mom would be like, Jack, we're gonna watch this. I would get so excited, and I'd be like, no, please do not turn this on. Let's watch Goonies.
Yeah, about halfway
Yeah.
through, you're like, I can't.
Yeah.
So
That dragon's
like-
dope, though.
yeah, the
Oh,
dragon.
dragon
big
is
time.
dope.
Yeah.
Dragon's totally
I
dope.
thought that was such a cool movie when I was a kid.
No.
I mean,
It was
Goonies,
not cool.
Goonies was 10 times cooler. All right.
Yeah. What is it coming?
And my wife doesn't even like Goonies. I don't even know. Yeah.
Booby traps. I mean,
Anyway, I'm like, but then I tried to watch with the kids. I'm like,
yeah.
you guys aren't digging this, are you?
I'm gonna put on the elf.
You fell asleep.
Yeah, we're gonna change that.
Oh man,
real
we just
quick.
watched Elf, man. God, it doesn't matter what time, when that movie comes on, dude.
I'll just catch it in the middle, the end, the
Oh,
beginning.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's
Elf and Goodfellas for me. I don't know why.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No matter where it's at, I'm just like, all right.
Brings
we're
out your
watching
inner
this.
gangster.
Just doesn't matter. So, Lee, you take Falcor
Yeah, Falcore and I
down to Prescott.
we're in Prescott.
Whatever
and
you call it.
the reason I went down there is because I had this math degree, and then as I was working, I was like, oh, a lot of my bosses are like engineers.
Yeah.
My mom always told me to be an engineer when I was in school, and I'm like, no, Mom, I'm not going to be an engineer.
You don't know what you're talking
You don't know
about.
what you're talking about.
You don't even know me.
There's
You
plenty
don't
of
know me
that
like that. You do
jobs.
know me. So anyway, but I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do like be an architect or be an engineer, because I thought being an architect would be totally dope.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
Until
So-
you find out what architects really do.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so this was part
What
of
is
this
that?
experience.
Meet city code.
Oh,
Like 99% of them like aren't like designing golf courses, you know.
it's not as cool as it sounds.
So some architects are doing rad shit. That's probably the 1%ers.
Yeah.
Like the 99% of architects are like making sure that this plumbing
That
needs
curb
to be
is a
cut
right
at 17,
freaking curve.
17 millimeters from this thing, and it's
Lame.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I was
Lee
trying
is
to
not going to be an architect.
Well, I was trying to decide. So it was this program, and it's at the COSA Institute there, and it was in sustainable design, because I was super into that too. And it was cool because it was like a mix of some architecture, community planning, some solar, passive solar stuff, which was super cool. And anyway, while I was there, I just shredded my brains out on my bike, because there's tons of cool trails there. And I was just there for one semester. That was how long it was. And after that, I was like, all right, I'm not going to be an architect.
Yeah.
I'm going to be an engineer, because I can come back to UAA here, which I did. And
Oh, you're a Seawolf?
I'm a Seawolf, man.
Damn, a moose and a seal, man.
Yeah.
AK boy, nice, dude.
Because I realized I could bust out my engineering degree in just like 4 semesters, because I had them on all my math. So I was like, oh dude, I'm just gonna crank it out here in state.
At home.
Yeah, be with my lady and like ski a bunch, and just
Was it
make that happen.
Colleen then?
It's Colleen, yeah.
So do you continue
Oh, yeah,
working?
Colleen, yeah.
What was that?
When you went back to school, do you continue
Yeah,
working?
I continued working. Actually, I switched jobs. I worked at this small place. It was just a dude, and it was his company, and I was his only employee.
Okay.
It's called Your Clean Energy, and we went around and we did like energy audits on buildings, and then we also did like some like renewable energy studies for different communities and stuff. So I got to travel all over the state and like crazy, false pass, Cold Bay.
It makes people feel bad because they're just sucking up juice.
I guess, Well, a lot of times.
You're wasting a lot of energy, sir. Have a good day.
A lot of times, it's just so expensive out there that they're like, we got to figure out a different way to operate. So.
Right.
So there's a lot of economics. So that was fun.
Yeah, what was that? Your Clean Energy?
Your Clean Energy. I don't even know if it's still around anymore.
Your Clean Energy.
But
I was just trying to make a note of that.
Yeah. But that was a great experience for sure.
So I had this is a random question, and I want to ask it before I forget it and lose it and stay on track. Because if you had a follow up to that,
no, go ahead.
So you said you grew up in Nome. Bikes. We're talking about bikes. There's a thing when you go to a small rural community or village in Alaska. For some reason, there's a creepy boneyard of bikes in every single one of them. Do you remember that in Nome? Do you remember that like in the dump or like in people's yards? Because there's like here in the city, your bike falls apart, you throw it in the dumpster or you take it to the dump and then it gets disposed of. Well, there, they don't really have a place to really take the trash. It gets all, pushed up at their local dump. But I've noticed in all the rural communities that I've been at, it's really eerie to cruise around town and see these like skeletons of bikes everywhere. Do you remember that?
I do not remember.
You're probably because you're 5, right?
I was only 5 when we left. Yeah,
you never went back.
I have been back, yeah, but it was like in the wintertime.
Probably covered in snow.
Yeah, all those bike graveyards.
Yeah, and have you guys? Any of you guys been to a small?
Oh, I've been to a lot. I don't remember a bike graveyard, but
I know they have like snow machine and 4-wheeler.
Yeah, that's
ATV.
definitely
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's that. But when you said Nome, I was like, the first thing I thought of is like, I remember when I went there, it was just like really weird. I mean, it was just like little kid bikes and then mountain bikes and BMX, and it was just like
I could see them getting real rusty,
I mean,
shit outside.
Come on, man, everything gets rode hard, put away wet, and then disposed of hard and wet in the village or small rural community. But I had to ask because I was like, man, dude, like
that was a vivid memory you had there.
Yeah, no, when he said it, I was like, I gotta ask this question if he knew. So, where were we at? We were at Prescott, rode your brains out, came back to UAA.
Yep, started doing that, and okay, man, we got to remember how this works. So, was here, kind of moved back, did the UAA thing, and then in 2009, my wife and I, we got engaged, and we bought a house over by Kincaid.
Colleen Sarah?
What was that? Colleen Tobin.
Tobin?
Yeah, Irish.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
Tobin.
All right, I like it.
So we bought a house out of Kincaid, and because we love to ski out there and everything, and like the first week that we were hanging out at the house, I meet my neighbor, and my neighbor, his name's Ryan Grief, and about my age, and he's like, hey, you like to ride bikes? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, let me show you the sickest trail ever. So I'm like, okay. So
does he actually talk like that?
Yeah, probably not. So we go. He takes me out to what's called the Bluff Trail, which I don't know. Have you ever been on the Bluff Trail?
I love the
Bluff Trail is awesome. Yeah, but it is like the hardest ass kicking trail that you'll ever be on. It's nuts, but it's beautiful, and it's like beautiful single track trail. And he took me out on that, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Where's that trail at?
It's like right by the motocross track.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You take Jodhpur, and then you take the sand. What is it? Sandbox over, and then it pops up on the left where those sand dunes are.
Sweet.
And then it just rides that ridge all the way down.
Oh, okay. And can you access it from the actual public access parking lot?
Like at the chalet over there? There's like a little cutoff. It's kind of hard. It's easier if you kind of go down the coastal trail. There's like a beach down there. And you can
okay. And then bust up on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
From that side.
Yeah, that's there's these weird access points to that trail. Like just off these like random ski trails over there.
Is it kind of ride tight, sketchy to the bluff?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like if you fall off of it, you're going to be like rolling down the bluff.
That's a gnarly, yeah.
Is that why it's called a Bluff Trail?
Well, the bluff fluctuates in like level, but there's like the one spot by the motocross.
It's like
a bluff can be like 30 feet,
or
bluff can be like 150 feet, and right there it's like That's
that part's kind of like Red Bull Rampage, man. Where it's like,
yeah.
A lot of runners run that trail. That bluff trail.
Yeah. So I rode that with Ryan and I was like, Ryan, like, why aren't there more like single tracks out here? Like, this park would be awesome to have mountain bikes. And he's like, well, no, I don't know. He's like, you should talk to Janis. I'm like, who's Janis? And he's like, it's Janis Tower. She the year before, she built the hillside trails up by Hilltop, and there's like, they built 8 miles of single track, and that was fun. I would go bike over there on those single track trails too. So that's like Queen Bee, Drone Lane, Janis's Jive. Yep. And he's like, you should, talk to her and try and build some trails out here. I'm like, okay, sweet, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So that meeting him like sparked this, and like I've been now with single track advocates. So that was in 2009. So it's 2021 now.
Wow.
And
11 years.
I've helped build almost 30 miles of trail.
Yeah, it's so cool.
in Anchorage now. So it's like kind of crazy to think back that far, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. And like all the stuff that we've accomplished since there is just amazing.
So you linked up with Janis and then decided, let's turn it up.
Yeah.
So did Janis start Single Track Advocates, or you guys did together later?
She started it at first.
Okay.
So she started back in like 2004.
Okay.
Or so.
Yeah. All right.
And then their first trail they ever built, which I wasn't a part of, was the Brown Bear Trail. So they built Brown Bear, I think, in like 06.
Okay.
And then in 08, she led the development of the original hillside trails.
Right, everything above flat Hilltop ski area.
Yep.
That whole section.
Park Service High School.
Yeah, Service High School.
Yep. That was when they had like the open fundraisers, right? And like, I mean, you still have it now, but I used to work at BP, and BP had like this thing where you could, donate $1,000 of your own money, and then I thought they would match you, plus you got like a fund each year if you used that. So we, like a shit ton of people at BP, started throwing everything we could at Single Track Advocates. And I think that all started about 2004, if I remember right, all through, the mid early 2000s or 2012, 13 range.
Yeah.
Janis, what was the last name?
Tower.
Middle name?
Ninja.
Janis Ninja.
No, she is an amazing person. I mean, she's awesome. So, I called her up, and we set up a time, and that was in March 2010. And I was like, hey, I want to build these trails out at Kincaid Park. She's like, that'll never happen. There's the Nordic skiers that are over there, and they'll never want any other trails. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, I actually Nordic skied raced like pretty competitively. I was I went to Junior Olympics 2 years in high school. Wow. So I got my Nordic on. I know how to talk to these people. I know how to wax my skis. I can wear my spandex. I know what's up. And so
I drive a Subaru.
Yeah, right. Rocket box. Gotta have a rocket box.
Let me assemble a meeting here.
Yeah. So we talked with the Nordic Association, and this is when I kind of learned about projects and how you frame them. Right. It's like, I want mountain bike trails, right? That's what Lee wants. Yeah. But also these trails are cool because they're also another place for people to go walk on in the wintertime. So they're not walking all over the ski trails. The ski trails, right? So it's like, you're like, the more you start talking to these people, multi-use stuff, you're like, wow, you start really building this case. You're like, holy smokes, this is a awesome idea because it solves all these different issues. Yeah. And then we're like, what if we made Jodhpur parking lot kind of the main access for this first phase, more people would be there because there was all sorts of bad stuff happening there at that time. They're like, I think they found a dead body there at one point along,
bad attention.
Bad attention.
The only people using it are the motocross people, then they get the bad rap. And
true. And it's probably like just a bunch of high school kids out there, whatever, you know, so. Anyway, so that kind of started this journey, and let's see, where am I at here? Yeah, so Kincaid, and we talk with NSAA. We start going through how to work this, and my original idea was just like, the bluff trail, sweet. Let's just kind of link up some trails there, maybe 3 miles of trail. Mm-hmm. And the more I talked to Janis, she's like, Lee, you got to think big. Let's just do like a whole enchilada of what I'm like, all right, sweet. So I did a bunch of mapping and like went full commando in Kincaid Park, just like bushwhacked through that entire place, man. And it was pretty rowdy.
Bug bites and
like Devil's Club is like 10 feet tall.
That is
nuts
such
out there.
thick stuff right there.
So nuts. But I found all these sick areas.
Yeah.
And I ended up drawing up a design for like 9 miles a trail there.
And so what trail would that be called?
So that was all the south. We call it the south side.
So
that's
bowling
everything.
alley.
Yeah. So.
Whoa, time out. Bowling alley?
Yeah, man.
Toilet.
You got a trail named after you, bro?
Dude, I got 2 trails named after me. I got Lee's Train, Bowling Alley. Those are those 2, and then we got like Good Grief, which was named after Ryan Grief.
Yeah.
He ended up helping out a bunch.
Yeah, all right.
He got on the board too, and we had there's like Tower Power, kitchen sink, toilet bowl.
Yeah.
Which you want to hear a great story on toilet bowl?
Yes,
Hold on,
absolutely.
Is when we were we finished the project and we went to go name it, and so we had to put up some temporary signs, and so one of the guy on our board, Chad Burris. I don't know if you know him, but he's the man, super cool guy. He's like, all right, I'll take care of these signs. So he's like, gets the signs together, and he goes up and makes a sign for toilet bowl and goes and puts it up there, and we're riding by and we look at it and we're like, Chad, this says toilet bowel. He's like, what? What are you talking about? And we're like, no, it's just toilet bowel. And he's like, oh, dang it. I even spell checked it. And, and he's like, stupid hockey spelling. So we're like, oh man, so great.
That's awesome.
Let's give some credit to some of the other names involved. With single track, obviously you just said your buddy there. Is there some other names that maybe should be told?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot. I mean, there's been a bunch of people on our board for the last, 10 years that I've been a part of. And there's like Janis Tower, Darcy Davis, huge force, Christina Grande is one.
Okay.
And then like Greg Mattis, Adam Robinson, Cody Gower. Oh my God.
Putting them on the spot here.
Yeah, put on the spot. Let's see. All the board members are awesome.
All right.
So,
there you go. All of them.
All of them.
We need all their middle names.
How many
Ready?
of them are, how many are there of you?
There's 11.
Did I say that
There's
right?
11 of us.
11.
So
Okay.
and I'm the president.
Okay.
So I've been the president for a while now, which I actually really like. It's pretty fun. So, but we got a good crew of people, and everyone's motivated. We're all volunteers too, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you're out there in Kincaid, you're bushwhacking through this Devil's Club. How are you to, and we know what the South Side, is going to turn into. How are you deciding, like on that trail architecture, like how's that come into existence in terms of like, this is the trail set I want to do. This is what we looked into. This is how we know how to do it. Cause it's like, you haven't built a trail before.
Totally. You're right. That's a really good question. So the first thing I did was like, all right, I need a good map of this area. And back in those days, there was no Google Earth with like 3D stuff. We all use Google Earth now. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And so I had to go, and I actually got a contact with the National Park Service. And they're like, well, we have an ArcGIS computer that you can use. And I'm like, oh, sweet. So after work, I'd go over there in this ArcGIS thing and like get the topos and everything. And then I'm like, hey, can I just print out a giant map? And they're like, yeah. So I printed out this giant map with all the 4-foot contours on there and all the trails. And then I took that map and I put it, my wife hated this map, by the way, because I put it right in our dining room. And so I could sit on the chair and just like look at it.
Yeah.
And I would just look at it.
How am I going to do this?
Yeah, how am I going to do this? And I would just look at it for hours. Every day I'd just go and look at it, and I'd have my little markers and I'd just start like sketching in. And then that next day I'd go out and explore that area and be like, oh, this area is sick. And the key too was like, you got to connect parking lots, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then also, like Nordic ski brain in here, you're thinking about trail crossings, right?
Yeah.
Like how are you going to cross trails? And I realized early on that the safest place to do that is on the top of a hill, because everyone's
Everybody
going
can
slow.
see each other.
Everyone can see each other, and you're going slow too. Because like on a bike, you're like going up, and then as a skier, you're going up too.
Yeah.
Because like if you put it at the bottom of a hill, like
You could
it's
have
just
some
catastrophe
catastrophic-
waiting to happen, right?
Yeah.
So
Catastrophe cross.
that'd be a great trail name, man.
staying on that crossing thing, did you have to look at like which trails would be used in like the big big metal race type stuff?
You know, I did. What I tried to do was limit crossings with any lighted trail.
Okay,
because they're the most used.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so like that was like trying to cross the lighted as little as possible.
Yeah,
was kind of the key right there. So then I'd have on this map, I'd put like dots like, okay, these are the potential spots that I can cross this trail. So then it was like this like Sudoku puzzle of like trying to figure out how do I get to those spots, but then also hit like the sickest terrain to get between those spots, right? Because you don't want to be on a flat trail. You want to have like topography, and then also it's
turns.
And also it's like we want elevation drop too. So it's like, okay, where's the highest spot? Where's like the lowest spot?
Avoid swamps and wet areas, right? Because there's a lot of that
kind of stuff.
And that area has like a lot of deep holes too.
That's what I'm saying, like almost like pits that you gotta
just
like,
out of
I'll
nowhere.
just run the trail through there, and you probably went out there to research it, and you're like, oh shit, I can't go through there. I got to go around this now.
Yeah, cannot do that at all.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how the layout worked out.
I had one more question about that. So the other thing is the Kincaid had that we all kind of used before were these game trails.
Oh yeah.
So how did those come into play?
So that's a great question. Jack, give me a pound right here, man. Dude, this guy's on it.
Yeah.
So
he loves this shit.
That was one of the talking about how to frame the project too, is like, hey, there's existing trails out there that maybe we can take over and use, and then we can maintain them.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, hey, now the Muni likes that because like, oh, an organization is actually like taking care of this trail. So we picked several of those trails to use.
Okay.
But we didn't use all of them because some of them pretty crappy.
Yeah.
Or they go straight up or straight down or whatever. Even like ones that we used, some parts of it we reworked or
yeah, I could imagine that. I'm thinking about one trail, and this is on Middle Earth, where I think like the game trail or the old trail goes straight up. It's like maybe like 3/4 mile in, and it's a hard climb that's like back. I guess that would be back like northeast, and it like banks all the way around. It comes around, then you have some alders, and I think there's a game trail right up the middle.
Yeah,
but you guys were able to like use the natural curvature, whatever, of that like hill to get the most out of it, because it rides really well both sides.
Yeah,
like
for
with
sure.
bank turns and stuff.
Yeah, because those up and down type of things on a bike just suck.
Oh,
you're like, got to get off your bike and push or whatever.
Yeah, it's no fun.
No fun. And that was the other thing of the thought when I was designing this out. It's like, because I'd ridden, I hadn't ridden a lot of mountain bike trails. I mean, Reno and Prescott. So I mean, there's a lot of other cooler spots to ride a bike, right?
Oh, yeah.
And this was before I'd even ever heard the term like flow trail, which flow trail is like a trail that has banks and berms and stuff like that. But my vision was like a flow trail where like, I want a trail that just is like a roller coaster, man.
Yeah.
So it's like every corner, I want like every corner to have a berm. And I want there to be rollers. I want there to be like jumps on it. I want this thing to be just as fun as possible. And so when we finally got permission to build this trail, and I got to work with the trail builder that we used, it was really cool. We started building this really cool relationship because I would be like pushing him. I'm like, John, we need to have like every corner needs to have a bank. And he's like, every corner? Like, yeah. Like, unless it's a corner that you want to slow someone down at before an intersection, like we need to have a bank everywhere.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and then you got to build jumps. And he's like, I haven't built jumps before. I'm like, okay, well, it's called a tabletop, jump, right? And so I'm like telling him, okay, you got a lip, and then you got like this flat part, and then you got this landing part. And so he built his very first, tabletop jump on our project. And it was funny. He built a ton of jumps, and then Ryan and I would go back through and optimize them.
Yeah.
So,
you're like, oh no, it needs to be 4 feet longer, or like, oh, we were landing on the top.
Yep. So and this was, our first kind of project that had these types of features in it. And so it was definitely a learning experience, and we've come a long way since then. Like a project now, I'd do totally new things from there.
Yeah. Like what we were seeing on the hillside now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to get deep into like what it takes to build a trail, but before we do that, we're gonna give a quick shout out to our sponsors because we just put a picture up there, and I got lots of questions. The Treehouse AK, your one-stop dispensary located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Be sure to ask the bud tender about their deal of the day, because honestly, there's always something good on deck. And guys and gals, listen, this is where the culture lives. At the Treehouse, their dedication to servicing consumers has been developed through a lifetime of involvement in the cannabis culture. They're committed to providing the highest quality products at whatever value your budget affords, while always maintaining the deep-rooted principles that have carried them this far. Their focus is on relationships over transactions, and you can always depend on them to treat you with the respect you deserve. Hit them up at thetreehouseaka.com. Remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter their store.
So earlier this week, I had a big water leak again in one of my condos, and I called Trent Taylor over at Taylor Restoration, 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you at any time, day or night. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks, or hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Serrano's Mexican Grill. Since 2008, Serrano's is Anchorage's own new generation of old cocina. Their menu showcases the passion and love of their rich heritage and unique family recipes that have been passed through generations. Serrano's goal is to embrace and display traditional flavors. Using the best ingredients that are available, they focus on making everything from scratch daily. In-house menu include handcrafted corn tortillas, Serrano salsa, carne asada, marinades, and chorizo. But don't take our word for it. Experience the tradition and sabor for yourself. They have locations on Tudor and Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has the unique tequila bar. Check out their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com. Got to have those sponsors, right, Lee?
That's right.
Yeah,
sponsors.
Are you guys pretty sponsored up?
We try our best to.
Yeah.
We have
how does that work? I mean, because there's not like, okay, hold on. I shouldn't say that because I don't know, but like it's got to be difficult to get like a return on an investment versus like we're showcasing a company and as an advertisement.
Totally.
So like your sponsorship pitch is what? Like how do you guys get those?
Yeah, a lot of times when we do, like build a new trail network and we're getting together a new map or whatever, it's like, hey, you get your logo on this map.
Oh, there we go.
Which is a really cool way to do it.
Absolutely.
And man, it just
a lot of eyes on that too.
A lot of eyes on that because every time anyone goes there to see that map right there, and we also put them on our website. But it's just like it's amazing. What I've found too is like it's not getting the money is not the hard part. It's like once you have this project and people get into it, all of a sudden the money just starts coming in. And there's small businesses that donate, but then there's also the big dogs too. ConocoPhillips, that size kind of company that are donating, and then so about the corporate donations are like kind of half, and then the other half just like people like you and me that donate. Which is awesome. So shout out to all of our members out there for donating every year. You can also do it on Pick, Click, and Give as well. So
nice, man.
It's a good way to do it as well.
Cool. I'm really stoked you got a shout out on that because we're looking at this photograph on Instagram and I'm thinking these are volunteers most likely not getting paid a goddamn dime to bust their knuckles and build these trails. But there's got to be a lot of costs involved. I mean, just trailblazing, clearing, permitting, materials.
Heavy equipment rental.
Heavy equipment. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, this doesn't look cheap at all.
Let me just point out that in this picture, the guys that are doing this are hardcore riders. They still have their helmets on.
Yeah. Like they're about ready to hit a jump.
They're like, well, let's get this done quick, boys. I want to test it.
Totally.
Putting in that flow curve right there, right?
That's right. Yeah, putting so that curve is one of our new trails on A-line, and there's kind of this tech. We call it like a tech section where there's like more like rocks and roots and stuff, and you're kind of really into it. And this corner kept on getting blown out all the time because people would come through there and just the dirt just would not hold up.
Okay.
So one of our Cody Gower and Adam Robinson were like, hey, we can rebuild this and use these
cinder blocks
here, and then pack them in and make a berm, and it'll withstand like
everything.
The Egyptians, right? Like it's gonna stay there forever, hopefully. So
well, in the fluctuation of the freeze and thaw, and then breaking it up and stuff. How old is that little corner? Since that rebuild there, I guess I could probably look at the date.
I think that was last year.
Oh, okay.
Or 2 years ago.
Okay, so it held up pretty good through a winter so far?
Yeah, it's held up great.
Nice.
So, but, to get back to the cost kind of stuff.
Definitely.
There's a lot of different parts to it. Probably one of the big costs is like hiring the trail builder to build it. And so that's a professional trail builder.
A contractor.
We pay them to do that. They have the heavy machinery.
Trailblazers Inc. or what?
The guy that we use, or the group that we use now is called Happy Trails. We've used them a lot.
Okay.
They've been around a long time. We've done a lot of projects with them. There's also a group called Ptarmigan Trails that used to be up here that helped build one of our phases too. Great guys. They're down in Oregon now. But there's some other smaller groups that are starting to do trail building as well. So
when you guys initially decide this is the trail, this is the track we're going to do, are people out there like actually what's the word I'm using? Surveying this thing and doing like exactly like you have to have this plan to the T?
It's a good question. It's a little more soft than like you're thinking like a surveyor out there. Like
you don't got the right of way division coming out. And
like,
oh, this is 2 inches from the tree.
So there's kind of like almost like different levels that go down. So that the top level is like the concept. It's like, hey, this is about
the blueprint.
Yeah, kind of high level blueprint where it's like, hey, we're going to connect this. It's going to go in these general areas. It's going to be about this long. And that concept is what you take through the whole public process. Okay. Public process can take like a year to get through.
Get everything cleared and okayed.
And it takes so long. It takes so much time. Is
it the same group of people that you're working with to get these approvals?
No, not the builder. No, the builder's not even involved at that.
No, I meant to get through the was it the city, the muni?
Oh yeah,
or is it the same like people you're working with to get approvals?
Yeah. So what are the steps? Like Kincaid and Bicentennial, those are the two that you've done trails in, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So like what would be the step to get approval on those two parks?
Yeah. So they're both owned by the municipality. That's their land. So we got to work through the Parks and Rec division. We've made a great relationship with them over the years. Great people there. And so, we take this plan to Parks and Rec. We're like, hey guys, we want to do this. And they're like, yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe tweak this here and that. We recommend you doing this. Okay. Got that. Then we got to go to all the community councils in the area. Get a letter of support from all that. Then we got to go, actually before that, we got to go to all the stakeholders in that park and get a letter of support. So for Kincaid, that's like motocross, Nordic Ski Association, archery.
I'm part of the ice fishing.
They will get a letter of support from you guys. So you get all that letter.
If you need a letter, I got you.
Nice, thank you, bud. And then after that, you go and present it at the Parks and Rec Commission, and then you have to do two presentations. One's just an informational, and then there's all this public comment that comes in. People, hey, we're for this, we're against it. We try to mobilize our group, like, hey, write your letters, do the, your letter of support. And then a month or two later, we go for the actual one where they're going to vote on it at the Parks and Rec Commission.
Okay.
And we go there, we do our presentation, and then they vote it yay or nay from there. And
have you been turned down on one of those?
We haven't been turned down on one of those, but like for our Hillside Phase 2 one, that's Jeff's Whoop Whoop A-line, stuff like that. There was some like more like wildlife concerns that we hadn't had to deal with before that turned out to be like this kind of big issue, and it slowed down the process. We thought we were going to get our approval like that fall. We didn't get our approval till like that next summer, and then we couldn't build that summer. So we had to wait like a whole nother year to build it.
So this is a long process to get anything really done.
Have you ever worked with the city?
No, I have not personally, but I mean, it all makes sense, but this in particular is like something that's not a necessity. So I imagine it's extra not It's not really that important.
It's a necessity for me.
Well, it's a necessity for many bike riders because it's incredibly popular in Anchorage, Alaska, no doubt. In fact, just on my way over here, I saw like a dozen bikes on the back of people's cars or in the back of their trucks.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not kidding. I saw 4 people going into my neighborhood, another group going up Elmore, and these are like 3 or 4 bikes in the back of trucks. And then coming down, I seen several cars with them mounted up. I'm like, man, the fresh snow must have busted everybody out.
Yeah. Another reason to have more trails.
But what I mean by that is like it's, you're asking the muni for, you're trying to get approval for the stuff that's not like an infrastructure type thing or, something that we need this. It's like, it's really recreational, but it's a huge positive.
It is for the community. And then like economic development, like that whole like live, work, play thing that Anchorage is all about. Like the play and work side of it is huge because it keeps like younger professionals here. They're like, oh, I can have a professional job downtown and have all this recreation right here to do it. Or especially now, like us living dad life where you can only get out for like an hour and a half in the middle of the day or in the evening. It's like, oh, I can go out and shred my brains out and come back and be super dad, you know what I mean?
Be back by lunchtime.
And you can realistically bike to work.
Yeah, totally.
Because of that. I mean, when I was living on O'Malley Road, I used a bunch of the trail systems to, get over to Tudor. And then, but that was epic.
No, Anchorage is a great spot. So, but you're right. It does take a long time. It takes
what would you say is like, once you have the idea of the trail and then you're about to approach the community and the city on this idea, what would you say is the average timeline to build a trail?
Okay, so from initial vision to like, let's just to building, probably like a year and a half.
Wow. And then how long does it take to actually build that trail?
So then the building typically takes like a summer.
Okay.
Like a solid summer to do
So
that, depending
6
on how
months?
much miles. No, it'd be like
3 months.
3 months or so.
It's like a 2-year process, really, to get a trail cut in.
It really is. Yeah, from start to finish. And then if there's any kind of hiccups along the way, then it could extend that out because we have such a short building season, right? So that makes it tough.
And if you're building trails in the thick forest or foliage, it's harder because it's shaded, so it takes longer for the snow and ice to melt. Right? It's wet and mucky and it doesn't dry out until like June. Yeah. Right?
Like we were just this year we just finished up what's called the Hemlock Burn Trail, which goes
I got a cool picture from Instagram up there.
Look at that. Yeah, that goes from Glen Alps all the way down to Prospect, and this is like my baby. I'm so stoked that we got this finished. But we couldn't when we first started this spring, we had to wait. We had to work in different spots because the ground was still frozen, right? And like trying to adjust that. But you're right. The conditions that are there definitely affect how you're going to build something.
Yeah, and that's changing year to year.
Yeah,
it's not always like 1 year it's warmer, 1 year it's colder. I think last year spring took forever. Everything took forever to thaw.
Yeah.
So imagine trailblazing was delayed a little bit.
So up there it says DNR's proposed regulation changes will allow bike use on the Hemlock Burn Trail. Can you articulate a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this Hemlock Burn was a new project for us, a new thing because it was the first time we built a project outside of municipal land. Okay. So Hilltop or Hillside and Kincaid are on Muni land. So we have all that connection and stuff like that. Chugach State Park is another animal.
Right.
And
you got over the border there.
Yeah. So and we've always wanted to build this. And this trail has been in the Chugach Management Trails Plan. Because I've always wanted to build a trail in Chugach State Park. And so in order to do that, we talked with the superintendent many years ago, and he's like, well, if it's not in the trail plan, you can't build it. I'm like, okay. So you know what Lee did? Read the entire trails plan. Figured it out, looked at all the maps, and I found this trail that someone had put in it. And it's called the Hemlock Burn Trail. I'm like, oh my God, no one's built this yet. I'm like, we got to build this. And it was in 2019 that the park was ready to kind of take this on. And I was talking with them like, hey, this could solve a lot of issues because they have the South Fork Rim Trail, and they were having problems with bikers just hauling down it. And it's a multi-use trail, so you can go either way.
Yeah, people with their dogs and stuff are calling people, they're hauling us.
Yeah, so I'm like, hey, well, let's build this Hemlock Burn Trail.
Deter people off of that.
Have bikes go one way down it. You can still hike on it if you want to, ski on it, that's fine. But then it makes this loop. You go up South Fork Rim, you come down Hemlock Burn. So it makes this awesome loop out of it. So it's kind of a win-win for all.
And extended that trail system right there.
Totally extends it, because loops are better. Loops are better than like an out and back, right?
Yeah. Because everybody goes one direction.
Everyone goes one direction. And then, hikers can go either way. There's also a ton of other hiking trails in there. Chugach State Park is like 99% is hiking. And then there's only like maybe 2% that bikes are allowed to bike on. So bikes are definitely.
Oh, they say you can't ride a bike there?
Yeah, on a lot of the Chugach State Park trails, they're not you're not allowed to bike on them. There's only like several, like Rabbit Lakes. You can bike on the power line.
So it's like no tent, no fire, no bike.
Yeah, no bikes. Yeah, you'll see a lot of no bike signs there.
I didn't know that.
So
hike only.
Yeah, hike only. But so building this. The thing, in order to make it happen and get the final thing, is that there's a regulation change that has to happen to do that, and it's almost through the whole state stuff now. So we're just waiting on the final.
It'll
word
be
on
permanent for all of Chugach, or
no, just for this trail.
Oh, okay,
just for the trail.
Wow.
So that's the crazy thing about the state park. Actually, one of the cool things I think about the state park is that the people that came up with this idea of like, hey, let's make a state park right here. Is amazing. And one of the cool things they did is they actually made it really hard to develop it. Even for like bikes, which I think you should develop for, right? Which is actually really great because you can go hunt sheep out there. Right? I mean, where else can you like walk from a city of like 300,000 people, 400,000, go like hunt sheep? You know what I mean? It's crazy. And that's because you don't allow development. So it's really
good point.
Not strangled, but it's a hard thing to do, and it should be a hard thing to do.
Oh, it's a good thing.
But I'm just glad we made it through the process and made it happen, man. It was a tough one. I definitely got some gray hairs from this project.
Oh, stressed you out a little bit.
Oh yeah, and I definitely lost some hair on top of my head. And my buddy Zach Berry's like, Lee, he's like, you're working on your power donut, man. I'm like, so I definitely grew my power donut this year.
I've never heard of that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I got one of those.
Brandon knows about that.
Totally.
Wear a lot of hats, boys. I wear a lot of hats.
So maybe just like, since we got to the Hemlock Burn already, like just work your way through like all the trails that you've built so far.
Okay, sweet. So 2010, 11, we did Kincaid phase 1. So that's like Lee Strain bowling alley, kitchen sink, all those types of trails. And then that was such a success. And I already had that map still in my kitchen, never took it down.
Yes.
I'm already thinking, what's the next thing? That's going to be north side.
Middle Earth.
Middle Earth. And that one, my idea was like, dude, let's get Middle Earth, which is a 2-way trail that goes all the way across the park. And then from there are just sick one-ways. Boom.
Oh, one way.
Branch off
one way. And they're all like, intermediate black diamond with jumps, berms, just super fun
hey,
stuff.
real quick, black diamond, what does that mean?
Just like expert.
It's like skiing.
Like skiing. Okay. Where it goes hardcore.
It's like
I figured that, but I wanted to make sure. Like,
do you have double black diamond?
I was just gonna.
We don't have a double black yet.
Yeah.
It'd be sweet to make one of those. Usually a double black is when there's like mandatory gap jumps or mandatory drops, where it's like mandatory, like, big drops that you got to take.
Can we get that named after Alaska Wild Project?
You guys donate to it.
All right.
Make it happen.
Absolutely.
So, and what's cool about so Lee was talking about those loops. They like kind of go directly perpendicular off that Middle Earth section and like really utilize the space well, because the archery range is right there, which I'm really familiar with. And then your favorite ice fishing lake from this year, Can. So these trails have to go back and utilize like little pockets, right? And then they have a boundary with the airport. Is that the airport fence, that big fence?
Yeah, it is.
And then you have all the cross country ski trails there. So it's like this really cool way that you've been able to utilize that space. Anyway, back to you.
I'm glad you brought up the archery, because I kind of want to talk about that really quick. And in every project, there's always some like curveball that gets thrown at you like at the last moment, and you're like, oh, what are we gonna do about this? This is horrible. And the curveball happened with archery. So check this out. For that north phase, we weren't gonna go. Middle Earth wasn't even in the plan. It wasn't gonna go over there.
Oh, really?
What we were gonna do, the plan was we were gonna go around Beer Can Lake. We were gonna develop like around that because there's already some tracks over there.
Yeah, cut trails.
Yeah, be sick to use. And we're almost through the process, and then we figure out that like even though that's land that is managed by the Parks and Rec, it's not owned by the municipality. That Beer Can Lake is actually owned by the airport.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Private property.
So we're like, oh no, we need to get a letter. So we asked for a letter. No support. We can't. They said, nope, you can't build any trails on it.
And who would have said that?
The airport did. The contact at the airport.
Really?
Yeah. And I think
Post 9/11, they're like, nope, we're not.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And
Like, I mean, that's, I don't know.
might have been some other bargaining chip. I'm not sure how it all worked. But anyway, I'm like, oh shoot, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Because we had this mileage approved. And so I'm like, oh, looking at my map, like, okay, how do we do this? I'm like, oh man.
Audible.
Yeah. I want to go, let's go from near the archery range all the way over to the coastal trail and then hit where Northwest Passage is, which I love Northwest Passage.
Yeah.
That I wanted to get to that bluff.
Yeah.
Because it's like one of the sickest bluffs that's out there. Great view of like Fire Island, volcanoes, everything. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, but and I didn't want to cross any lighted ski trails because that's Mize Loop is right there.
Yeah, you're right under Mize Loop.
And Mize Loop's like the most
too much
popular.
traffic.
Yeah,
too much traffic. I'm like, NSA is going to kill me.
There's that view station with a garden and
Totally. I'm like, they are never going to let me cross this Mize Loop. So I'm like, the only other option is to go next to this archery range, which I'd never really been to.
Oh, it's sick.
It's
I
super
love
sick.
that archery range.
So I started walking around the archery range, and then I'm like, okay, I need to get a letter of support from archery. So I get a hold of the archery president. I'm like, hey, we want to do this, the trail. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Can I present to you guys? And he's like, oh yeah, we're having a meeting, in 2 weeks. Come on down. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there.
Perfect.
And so this is where it gets crazy. So
did you wear camo?
I should have. But this is even better. This is even
Just
better.
rolled in with a Hoyt. Just like, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
This is even better.
I brought free arrows.
Just cue
Some
you
new
out.
targets. This is a real bear.
So during this time, I had forgot that I was going to go get an implant in my front tooth. And it's a long story. When I was a kid, a sled like busted out my front tooth, and it was always like they had to rebuild it,
Yeah.
I got one of those,
like a shark tooth, they
Yeah,
had to rebuild it. Finally, that tooth failed, so I tried to get an implant on that. That implant failed when I was older, and then they're like, well, you should just get 2 implants in the front, these 2 right here. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I had forgotten that that Thursday before the Monday meeting was going to be what I got
Implant day.
Implant day.
Boy.
So I go get my implants and just get knocked out, man. Like it felt like a horse just kicked me right in the face.
Shit, dude.
And I'm
put asleep the whole 9.
Black eyes.
dude. I was so cheap that I was like, I'm not going to go under because I wanted to save money so I could buy a better mountain bike. And that was a horrible mistake,
Paid
man.
dearly for that.
Oh, dude, it's horrible.
Dentists have awesome stories about you.
They probably.
I didn't know that was even an option.
Oh, dude, there's these.
You can say no.
All of them regret
deal with the
it.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, like that weekend, I'm just puffed up, huge, like.
I got a meeting on Monday.
Yeah. So I roll in Monday. I'm at the office, and actually, their meeting was on Tuesday, but Monday I'm at the office, and they had given me. So I went to go to the to go get my flipper. Have you ever seen a flipper? That's like when you don't have teeth here, they give you a fake retainer that has fake teeth on the front.
okay.
So it makes it look like you have real teeth, like a nice smile, right? Yeah. And so I go to get my flipper, and I take it back, and I go to put it in, and like it just won't fit because I'm so puffed up. And I call up the dentist. I'm like, guys, my flipper won't fit. Like, what's going on? Like, oh yeah, you can't wear that flipper for like a week. I'm like, what? I'm like, I got a meeting. I got like a.
This is like a very important.
Yeah, a very important community meeting I have to go to. They're like, you cannot wear this flipper. I'm like, shoot. So.
But these bow hunters are gonna judge me.
Totally, man. So sure enough, me and some of my other STA friends, buddies, we go to the meeting and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be so bad. Because I'm the guy that has to tell the whole thing.
Yeah, you're supposed to sell this thing, dude.
Yeah, so we go to the spot that they meet's downtown, and it's in this small Anchorage house, but it's in the downstairs. So
like a basement.
We go into the basement, and down there.
Usually call those dungeons.
Dungeon. It felt like a dungeon. So I get down there, and I look around, and there's like 40 people there.
Oh,
and
fuck.
It's like I walked into a freaking ZZ Top concert.
Yes.
Like everyone had huge beards, like cut off shirts, tattoos, just like.
Yeah, it's
like,
the trad bow guys, man.
These guys are just going to eat me alive. So I get up to the front, and the guy's like, all right, hey, well, yeah, here's Lee with the trail group. He's going to tell you guys all how he's going to build a mountain bike trail right through the middle of the archery range. I'm like, oh my God. Talk about.
Thanks for setting me up here.
First of all, my name is Tron.
If you notice, I don't have any teeth. So,
dude, that's how I played it. I was like, you know what? I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to start talking. Everyone's going to see I have no front teeth. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to own this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm like,
well, what's up, boys?
totally. So I'm like, hey guys. So my name's Lee. And just in case you haven't noticed, I am missing my 2 front teeth. And one of the guys is like, are you from Alabama? I'm like, no, but my dad's from Alabama. And they're just like, wah. So it started going on a good step. But then the meeting kind of started to deteriorate after that, where, I'm trying to figure out where to put this trail. And then it becomes obvious to me that like, I got to stay away from the archery range.
Yeah.
And
Go way around it.
what I did is I brought my map, the big map, and I put it up on the thing. I got some duct tape and put it up there. I'm like, hey guys, here's the deal. It's like, I need to go from here to here. And like, you need to help me draw in where it's going to go. And they're like, oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So like the head guys
get to be
came
part
up.
of this?
Yeah, and we walked up to the board and we just started talking. And within 5 minutes, we had drawn in how we were going to get around the archery range.
Yeah.
And then right after that, I drew in the rest of Middle Earth, and that's how
was
Middle
it.
Earth was it.
Got
Yeah.
the approval letter and boom.
Got the approval letter. Boom, got it. And
It would have
it's
been
just-
super hard to go anywhere but where you went. Like
Totally.
anything closer to their direction. They got those like little walkthroughs and stuff, and then you have like the dog training area. Like, where the hell would you go?
I know it really was the best spot, but the problem was I had to cross the Mize Loop twice.
Yeah.
And so I had to go and get back to NSA and be like, hey guys, archery, we can't go here,
Yeah.
hook me up.
Is that why you have your sleeves cut off now?
Every day.
People that aren't watching, he's got his Patagonia with his sleeves cut off.
Hooded Patagonia with the
Oh, with the sleeves cut off. With one little tat.
So do you don't cross Maya's a second time? It kind of parallels it towards the bow range, and you kind of use their entrance, right?
You go in, it goes between what's called Roller Coaster and Elliot's Climb, the ski trails, and that's where
These names are awesome, dude.
That's where Second Breakfast is.
Yeah.
Second
Okay, and it
breakfast?
splits right there.
Second
Yeah.
Breakfast is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. You
my
want it twice,
favorite.
man.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Wow, I've had
Is there a
breakfast
map?
couple times.
Do you guys put out a map? Like, these are all our trails.
We do, yeah.
You do?
It's usually on our website.
I'm gonna
so
look it up.
Okay.
that's where we got
Printable?
it. What was that?
Printable?
Yeah, it is printable.
Okay.
It's a PDF version that you can print
I
out.
think
Nice.
it's now on the Kincaid map too.
That'd be
There is-
that'd be a sick hoodie.
Oh, that would be a sick hoodie. Actually, Kaladi Brothers made a hoodie, actually a shirt, and it's like a reincarnation of some of the trails. that
Oh,
they
that's
did,
cool.
Which is kind of cool idea.
Nice.
I never thought about
How
that.
did that come about the Kaladi collab? Obviously, it's in the logo.
Yeah.
Those boys just hardcore riders and like, let's get in on this.
There's a group of hardcore guys there, and one of the guys that's their marketing director contacted us and like, hey, we want to do kind of a thing with you guys, and this was just this last year, and make a coffee that has your name on it and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So they made a special roast for us and
Nice.
kind of came out with
That's
some cool
cool.
gear, and it was pretty cool.
They have epic marketing.
Yeah, they
Oh
did
yeah,
a good job.
they're so good.
Definitely.
They're so good. So that's how we got to phase 2 of
Yeah,
Kincaid,
all right,
right?
yeah.
So we got that done. We finished that in 2014. Boom. And then after that, Kincaid just got super popular.
Yeah.
And people are buying more bikes and everything like that, which is great. But then, and everyone's riding those like Black Diamond runs, and then we're all kind of starting to progress, and we're like, oh man, we want something more.
Yeah.
You know, we want some bigger downhills.
Yep.
And I had always thought that we needed to go back to hillside and put some new trails there, some new one-way trails
You
there.
want some elevation, right?
That's right. Where better to go than the hill, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
The hillside. And so, and there was other people that thought that too. And there was a guy that reached out to me named Cody Gower, and he ended up coming onto the board, and him and I tag teamed that hillside project together. So because that was the year that I was going to have my third kid. And this was going to be in 2018. And I'm like, dude, there's no way. Because my wife almost killed me like the last time I did a project and we had a baby.
Yeah.
So
non-existent dad.
Yeah, totally. So I even used like some of my paternity leave just to go work on trails. And she was so mad about that. So, but I just love trails so much.
Yeah, man.
The kids are going to use this.
The kids are going to
It's for the kids, babe. It's for the
They're going
kids.
to do this instead of drugs. They'll be offering college scholarships for Mikey.
But I knew, I was like, if I want to do this trail, I can't be the total point person. So we brought on Cody, and he's awesome. And so him and I worked on it together, and it turned out to be that was just a great trail. And the reason that it turned out so well, I think.
Which one are you talking about?
Hillside Phase 2. So that'd be like
A1.
Jeff's Whoop Whoop, A-Line,
Yeah.
Dig Deep, Gower Power,
Yep.
Ticket to Ride,
Yep.
those ones right there.
Yep.
The reason that turned out so well is that we use the hillside really well, but then our trail builder they hired as a subcontractor Gravity Logic, and Gravity Logic is the group that made Whistler Bike Park.
Oh,
and Whistler
cool.
is like the Disneyland.
I was just going to ask about that, about
So-
outside trails, and obviously you probably like research what these guys are doing out here. Sounds like Whistler is
That's
top
where
dog?
it's at. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
You
the guys-
network with them when it came time to build.
Yeah, so when it
Okay.
came time to build, they came up for the layout phase. And so
Really?
they came out and helped us lay out. And it
By
was-
volunteer? Like they
No.
wanted to come up? Or
no, we paid them.
Okay.
We
I was
paid
just
'em.
curious because like, were they like, wow, this is a great idea. We got to go up there and
Yeah.
support these guys.
No, it's cool. Like their whole business now, Gravity Logic, is just building trails and consulting. So we hired them as a
Oh,
consultant
okay.
to
Okay,
come
that makes
up.
sense.
And that was a mind blowing. This guy was Tom Pro. He's probably in his like 60s. Came up and he's just a complete badass.
Yeah.
And
Did
he's
you
like
guys go ride?
Well, his last name is Pro.
Pro. Yeah, Tom Pro. Actually,
Damn, that's a
Middle
tough
name
to
not
live.
semi.
I know.
That's
right?
a tough name to live up to. man.
Totally. And it was great walking with
it's
him out there
still-
and just seeing all the lines and everything. And he's like, you got to go like this. And you could just see it in his head. He's
Yeah.
like, you got to go
He just
here.
sees
And then it's all about the grades too. It's like, hey, if you hit this grade, average grade, we can go down, but we got to come back up. So we scrub your speed so you can get ready for the next downhill. And
Yes.
just
Wow.
more technical kind of nature on it.
Yeah.
And instead of doing all this like kind of meandering stuff, it's like, no, we want to keep going down, keep building speed, but keep your speed going. Instead of using your brakes to slow down, you use the topography to slow you down.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Gotcha.
see.
So you can go fast, but then you want to rise after that to rise up. And then you're, back down on the other side. So
Man, it sounds like there's so much thought process in all
Yeah,
this.
it's not just like cutting some brush and making a trail, right?
Bike science, dude. Bike
Yeah,
science.
bike
is
science.
it
rad.
really is
man.
like a bike science.
No, it absolutely is because you're building,
University of Alaska,
Yeah.
are you listening?
right?
Yeah, bike science.
That's
yeah,
right.
you're building a like how you'd build a road, right? But in the backcountry, and a narrow passage.
But making it cool.
Yeah.
But then
You know what I'm
you're making features with it, but using the natural features that the earth has given you to like develop on it. That's pretty cool. I had no idea that was so technical.
Yeah.
And how it was all done. I mean, like I said, a simple-minded guy, I'm just like, well, I cut some brush and use a game trail and kind of bust off that. And yeah.
I'll take
Tear
you
your
out
sleeve
for a
off and
ride,
shoot the
Brandon.
arrow.
You'll be.
I'll be honest.
I would go for a
I have a lot of friends, close friends that are super into it. I've been wanting to get into it. It's been hard to find the bike.
Yep.
It's not cheap to find the bike. that you want to get. It is a goal of mine to like get into it. I'm super excited to like hear about all this. I'm curious on where Alaska stands in comparison to other states, or maybe even countries, as far as the popularity of this sport and maybe the development of this sport.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, mountain biking in the last maybe 10 years has just exploded throughout. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of other communities that are just like us that are building these trails and stuff. But what I've seen that people that have come to visit Alaska have really given us a lot of props on our trails. We're like, wow, these trails are amazing. Yeah. These are great. These are world-class trails. And you're like, man, that feels good to get that kind of to feedback on that. And as I've gone to other places now to ride like a road, you know, Whistler, Bentonville, Squamish, a bunch of different places, and everything has their own unique kind of flavor to it, which is cool. But I do just love our trails because we've just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just so used to them now, but they're just so much fun.
Yeah, they are fun. You did a really good job on them. All of the trails have, like what you were just describing with the downhill. I mean, the Kincaid, you have the up and down the whole time. It's not just like this back and forth thing. And when I got into mountain biking hardcore was in Seattle.
Oh, nice.
So I lived there after college, and it's amazing. You have a city that is huge. How many mountain bike parks there are, how many trail systems there are in these like tiny little areas. So there's like like in 2003, like the real famous one at the time in Seattle was called Inchworm. I don't know if you've ever heard of that in Renton, but they basically took this tiny little area, which would be way smaller than like what's available in the South Edition at Kincaid, and built these like extravagant trails, but by going back and forth, you know, and so anyway, they built these really great trails down there, and it was awesome. But they weren't able to like fully utilize the topography like you've been able to here, because there wasn't like that up and down. And so it's like the way you were able to execute the trails to be able to like really like utilize the up and down has been awesome. But then they feel super professional when you're on these trails. Like there's a shit ton of bank turns, and you're like on bowling alley. Like one way it's one day it's one way, the next day it's the other. So you're like, I've been on like 4 even days in a row, man. and then you finally get a ride the other way, and you're like a little kid in a candy store. You're like, yeah, dude, I had to ride up this bank turn the last 4 times, and now I'm going down them. And so it switches
it up on you.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, man.
I like that.
You guys have really done like. I mean, it's like the iPhone thing, you know, like we didn't have iPhones in 2000. We had flip phones. Like that Renton Inchworm was awesome. It was like that flip phone that we thought was great. like our trail systems up here, I feel like are like the iPhone. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And they just keep getting better. Like you guys are learning more, bringing more resources in. It's awesome.
Are you guys expanding outside of Anchorage?
No, you know, it's a lot of times there'll be communities outside, you know, like Kenai or the Valley, and they're like, hey, can you come build some trails out here? And, you know, we're like, no, our focus is just Anchorage.
Yeah, it's probably enough, right?
Yeah, because we're all volunteers, you know, it's not like a full-time job. I would love someday if that became my full-time job to be a trail consultant.
I bet.
I mean, man, it'd be so cool. So anyone that's listening out there, you want to build a trail, let me know.
Yeah.
So, because there's so much upfront work and like design before you even like start constructing.
Or before you even like go put boots on the ground, right?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, just like you can't even put a trail there because the Muni or the park or the this, that, and the other won't even let you. So don't even bother.
Yeah, don't even bother.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I wanted to ask you, did you guys have anything to do with the development of the Blueberry Pass trail up through Alaska? I know it's not Muni, it's not Anchorage. Or is it technically, I guess, in Girdwood?
I think it technically is Anchorage.
Yeah,
land.
I guess it is.
It's Muni, but then you got Chugach State Park
in that.
And National Forest.
Oh, yeah, so it makes sense. Well, the reason why I ask is I did a backpack back in there like last October. I did a solo run. I went up in there. And I'm hiking. I went real early in the morning. I was the only person on the trail for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I started cramping up really bad here toward the top before I got to Blueberry. And I heard this sound coming. I'm like, what the fuck is that sound, man? Like, for like a half an hour, I'm like, it's getting closer and closer. And I know it's not an animal. It's like it's human noise. It's brakes, man, of a bike ripping down the trail. And the whole time I'm like hiking, I'm like, dude, no one's bringing a bike up here, are they? Sure enough, these three wild bastards rode their mountain bikes up there. And I'm sure there's lots of guys out there that, or guys and gals that do that ride, but it was incredibly extreme in my view to be mountain biking on that trail. But there was really cool, like, you know, the cut wood bridges and like, so obviously a lot of development, a lot of man hours and work went into building that trail. Yeah. Did you guys have anything to do with that at all?
We don't have anything to do with that, but I've been on that trail and it is a badass trail.
Holy shit, man. Awesome. I mean, these guys, and they were like probably in their late 40s and 50s. I mean, these gentlemen were not young cats. They're gray haired, ripped, very fit. And like, you know, riding October 10th or whatever day it was that I did that hike up in there for an overnighter. But I was blown away. Like that really kind of set the tone for me to what the extreme of a mountain biker of Alaska is. Totally. I was like, holy shit, dude. Like you're riding a mountain bike on there were sections where they had to just pick it up and like hike it and then throw it back on the trail and ride. And I was like, wow, like, you're out of your fucking mind. I can't believe you're right. Like, to me, it wasn't fun. I was like, dude, that's like way too much. I was like, a lot of danger, a lot of risk, like injury potential. But my respect level for the mountain biker of Alaska went like through the roof because I'm like, whoa, like, damn, this is what you're doing for fun? Yeah. That's not easy, and it's very risky, and you could easily like hurt yourself very badly.
And then you're that way out there too, right?
Yeah. Like there's no cell phone. I mean, you better have an inReach or something if you eat shit and like wipe out and like knock yourself out or hit a tree or, I mean, just weird injuries can happen from biking and going fast. But I was just impressed. I mean, these guys came up and they're like, what are you doing up here? I'm like, oh, I was just going up here looking for goats and messing around and just going for an overnight. Just kind of want to get one more
like,
in.
What are you doing?
And I'm like, what are you guys doing up here? So I'm like, I passed a few folks and thought like, oh, I'm not going to see another person the whole trip. Yeah. And these crazy assholes come riding by and I'm like, well, number one, there ain't going to be no animals nowhere with all these brake. Ripping. But I was fine with that, of course. But I was mad respect from that point forward. Not that I didn't have respect for mountain bikers before, but that was like, whoa. Like that is some hardcore shit.
And I mean, being able to get up in the Alpine with a bike is like for me is like Alaska's holy grail, because that's what we have that no one else really has. Is that high Alpine,
the 0 to 5,000. You can ride your bike up there,
and like one of like my personal favorite trail is Lost Lake. And you get up in that high Alpine there, and it's just so gorgeous. And
right on that top little ridge across, it's great.
And riding up's got to be just.
I can't make it up without getting off the bike. I bet you can.
I can make it up, man.
Yeah. Boom. There's those two little like knife backs that I'm like, I got it this time, and then
where you're like just like walk.
It's like a cliff that you're biking up, and it's like, I got it this time, and I'm like, nope, I don't.
Yeah.
How do you even get the tire to stick? Like, how do you not lose traction? Like, I mean,
you mean when you're going up or down?
Up. Like, I mean, you're pedaling, and at some point, it's so vertical. Like, how does the tires?
There is a point where you can't go up. Like, if you're talking Primrose side, there's definitely some parts on Primrose.
Up from Primrose.
Yeah,
there's two that I can't make.
Yeah, definitely got to hike your bike.
You're going up the other way?
From the other way.
Firehouse.
Yeah, but that's an easier way.
Yeah. I've never tried to climb that way. I've always gone Primrose.
Is that a much shorter? I mean, because I think about the snow machining from the trail. Primrose is like, I guess Primrose is pretty vertical too. But the Firehouse is like straight up, and then you just get up there.
Well, on the Firehouse side, you have those like irrigation kind of
like little bench kind of deals.
benches, but on
step ups
on Primrose, it's like it's pretty. It's okay. There's just like there's two like I'd call them dinosaur backs
elevation gains
that are pretty nasty.
That's a good name for a dinosaur back. I like that.
You're
there's
like
a trail.
You're like it's like it's coming. It's same as the teeter totters. Like, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
You got it this time, and then you start climbing it, and you just lose the momentum, and then I just can't get enough weight down, and it's just like, okay, I'm popping out early. I'm not going to get hurt. Yeah. We're at the beginning of our ride, and then there's the second one, which is worse. But other than those two, you can make it the whole way. Yeah. Like if you say, clicked in, if you wear clickers, like it works good.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then you get that top. It's just so nice. But my best head over story, I'm going to keep going here for a second, is on the top. So we grew up with this guy, BJ Slyman. He was into mountain biking like when we were kids.
Whoa.
And there was like competitions when we were kids, and he was really into it. So he like shows up. He's been gone in Alaska for like 10 years with this this is probably in 2004 or 5. And he shows up with this like 1994 bike. And he like definitely didn't do any maintenance this thing. It hasn't been ridden a lot. And so there's some problems. Anyway, he's still like probably way better biker than I am. And so we're on the top, and where that little creek crossing is right after you circle around the bridge. So we're hauling ass, dude. And I have no idea what fucking happened, but I was across and stopped, and he just misses the bridge and just like he's just like air burrito, but like into the creek.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude. Like it doesn't come off the bike. Like he just stays
just rises
in
out
and like just crashes in there, and we're just like, what the hell just happened? It was the greatest crash. He was fine,
Oh, no injuries?
Yeah, but it was hilarious, man. I was like, what the fuck?
So did he get a new bike after that?
I don't know what he did. Yeah, I'm sure he did.
How is the sorry?
Oh, I was just curious. How many bikes do you have, Lee?
Oh man,
that's on my last little fucking.
Oh man,
right.
did I jump ahead?
No, go ahead.
Well, he started talking bikes. I'm like, this guy's got to have at least a couple, 2 or 3 bikes, right?
Yeah. So I got and I try to keep it slim. I tried not to have too many, but the ones that I do have.
Did Colleen have something to do with that?
yeah. But the ones I do have are like top notch. They're awesome.
Oh,
so
sure.
I have I got a Santa Cruz 5010 mountain bike with a Fox 36 in the front. Oh yeah. So Kashima coat. Like
Daniel,
awesome.
if you're wondering what that means, he's talking about the shocks.
I'll look it up
Am
later.
I right? Am I right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Yes. So that thing's awesome, man. I love that bike, and that's just like
that's your lead dog.
That's
like
a lead
number
dog.
one,
Yeah, lead dog number
boy.
1. That's what I shred on every day.
Okay.
Shred on that.
What
thing.
was that one again?
Santa Cruz 5010.
Is that's all carbon or
all carbon? Yeah.
Ooh, super light.
One of my friends. It was his wife's bike, and he sold it to me, but she'd only use it for 1 year, so it's like I got a pretty good deal on it.
Yeah.
And it's got like carbon rims and stuff too. The reserve rim. Oh my god, it's amazing.
So when you're just side question, when you're purchasing or paying, because one thing that I learned, I went to the bike shop, I bought a Giant, which I think is like entry level. I think it was like $600. Beautiful bike, love the bike, perfect for what I do in the little lower hillside trails. I ride from my house on Elmore and Abbott to Stuckagan Heights. I run the trails back there. For me, that's it's a pretty good run, and you run fast and the whole thing. Definitely down to do a little something more extreme. But when I went in to go buy that bike, it was like, well, shit, there's like 500-600 and 5,000.
Yeah.
I'm
like, are you the price? Is it mainly weight? Is that where like the price point jumps or staggers around?
Components.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a mix. It's kind of
like a lot of the brakes and shocks are the same, but the frame is different.
Yep, frame is definitely a key. So like the better frame, but I think a bigger perspective to take on it is that different bikes are designed to do different things.
So and the dude that sold me the bike like broke that down. And I'm like, all right, let me run this down.
Yeah, this is what I need.
Entry level dude is gonna do like whatever the most like intermediate mountain biking stuff is.
Yep.
Still down to rip, but like at the lowest level with a little bit of room for growth, and I might jump up if I like get into it.
Totally.
He was like, oh, this bike. And he fitted me with the medium frame and the whole thing. So I'm only 5'8" and like all this. And I'm like, oh my God, I like had no fucking clue that he fit the bike to me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like, oh, I like that bike. He was like, oh no. We're just gonna like run down these bikes and like fit a bike to you. And I'm like, oh my God. But then the price point was like throwing me so far off. I'm like, well, what is the difference? Like, you know,
so a lot of it's that components where it's like, you got your fork that you have, right? like a big component of a mountain bike.
Sure, takes a lot of
abuse, right? And so the cheaper forks might just have like a coil in them. Okay. But then the next step up is like is air, and then but then there's different size stanchions of those, like
diameter
of the tubes that go down. And the bigger they are, the stronger they are. And then the different types of, like, if you want to like nerd out hardcore, there's all sorts of different like machinery inside of that shock that you can dial in for your ride. And as a beginner or intermediate, you really don't care. You're like, okay, I'm riding it, like it's fine. But
I like click it to the right setting, and I'm like, this works for everything.
I'm good.
Yep.
But the more you ride, the more you're like, oh, this feels great. But hey, whenever I go off that huge drop, I bottom my fork out.
Oh, now
like
you need stiffer suspension.
Like, how do I get stiffer suspension? And like, I can put some more, like, I can do this to my shock and like change it around. But you can only do that with a more expensive shock.
Sure.
And so as you're getting up in those kind of shocks, you're dialing it in. But a super expensive shock is like, $1,000, right? So that's like $1,000 for like one shock, and you don't even have the rest of the bike yet, right? So it's like, so it's just as you get more expensive, you're getting more of those kind of things to dial in. But as a beginner, intermediate, you don't need a crazy bike. I mean, when I started riding, I had a bike just like what you had.
Yep.
And like, I was able to shred that thing down. And for me, I feel a lot of it's just like, it's not about the type of bike or how expensive your bike is, but just how you ride it and how much fun you have on it, But there is a level where like you start outgrowing your bike and you're like, oh man, okay, I need to go like full suspension now or whatever it is.
Or you're beating it up to a point where like, I need a stronger bike.
Yeah.
Is the badge of a badass biker the thing on the back of your tailgate?
The fox.
It is if it's gifted to you.
Okay, just wondering.
Are you talking about mine? Like the
well, not yours. A lot of guys I know.
Well, and I realized real quick.
I have that though, right?
I know you do.
You know why I have it?
No, I don't know why.
Oh, for bikes, not for bikes.
So
the thing about his is, I think yours is camo because you're like bow hunter and biker. So like, I'm just gonna.
So this is a good story. So Paul, my surfer buddy, who I go surf out with Scott Liska, who we need to get on here, out of Seward. Me and him went on a 3-day Middle Kenai float trip, and I had my car portaged with the drift boat trailer. And so we're done with this trip. We get back to the boat, load the boat up, and I do all the checks for the trailer. And I start driving home. And we're in Indian on a Sunday in July. You know what that traffic's
like? Not busy at all.
And I look back, and my drift boat trailer goes off my tailgate, off my truck, off the hitch.
And the coupler came disconnected.
And I see it up there, and then I got the two chains, and so I hit the brakes, and it slams the back of my tailgate. And then I get it to the side, and I go to the back, and I had done my checks, but the thing I hadn't checked was that the big pin that
when you latch it down.
So the big pin that you have your trailer hitch in.
To the truck.
Frame. And I hadn't checked
the receiver to the hitch.
Yes. And the pin I use for that type of cotter pin is like the double cotter pin, and I push it all the way through. Yeah. So there's no way that would naturally have come out. Like someone took that off my truck at the landing.
Took your pin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and so
that's fucked up,
100% because I push it through twice, right? So then it's on the the radius of the circle. Like there's no way that could fall out.
Yeah.
And I found the pin on the road because I was like, I got to figure this out. So I walk back in traffic, and this could have killed people. Like I'm just like just sick to my stomach. I want to figure out like what I did wrong. And when I find that pin, and I know that I had pushed it in the cotter pin all the way through that pin, the retainer pin, all the way through, I was like, okay, well, someone tried to take that from me. And that's something you don't check, right? And so since then, I've got the locked one. I have the locked one now.
Yeah.
And like spray, put your oil in there and whatever grease.
No, you got to just leave that rusted in there.
Yeah.
Like
rest
never
forever. Well, I have to change it for
we
someone.
love that in the auto body world when somebody does that. And they're like, hey, you got the key? They're like, no.
Okay,
we're going to cut it off. You got to buy a new one.
Yeah, that's right. So
that's how mine is right now.
So I had
permanent.
So to get the trailer to dampen the situation and make sure that my trailer didn't go another lane. Like I waited for the boat to come back down, and then I hit my brakes, and it stuck. The trailer stuck into the back of my tailgate. And so I went to the side. I mean, there's a fucking hole in my tailgate.
Oh, I bet.
Well, I'm a cheap motherfucker. And then I talked to like Chris Awesome, all these guys trying to get work at auto places to get like a new tailgate. And it's like $1,000 with the camera. I already have the camera. Like I don't want a new one. So Gideon Saunders knows I love biking, had that around and gave that to me for free.
To cover up the dent?
Yeah.
So if we went out there and opened that up, you'd see the hole.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just all scratched up, dude. It's great. Like, so
nice.
All right.
Okay.
And so,
That's a good point.
thank you, Gideon Saunders, who one of my mountain bike buddies.
Well, I would tell you, man, like it's got to be worth it to put one of those covers on, because I never gave two shits. I just threw bikes in the back of the truck. I'm a truck guy. I've always owned a truck. I just throw the kid's bike in there, throw a bike in there. Well, then now I go get this. To me, this $600 mountain bike is like some badass, nice shit. Nicest bike I've ever owned in my life.
Yeah. That's right.
And I go and throw it in the back of my truck. I'm like, whoa.
It's getting
like,
thrown around.
You can fucking beat this bike up. That's why the guy puts the pad on his tailgate. Yeah. So I quickly realized, like, oh, man, I need to step my game up. So actually what I want to do, and Lee might hook me up, is I actually met this kid. He built a frame and welded it in the back of his truck so you could put your bike in the truck. And it was like a bike rack at like a store or something where you just put your front tire in there and it like holds it up. Mm-hmm. He put it in there, and then he like had a little strap so he could just put like 2 or 3 mountain bikes in the back of his pickup.
Oh, that's cool.
And then, they would be, standing straight up. Well, I never got around to building that. I don't know if you know anybody that's got some cool shit in the back of their truck like that. Yeah. But I thought that was a cool deal, because I'm like, whoa, you go buy a nice bike, you don't just like chuck it in the back of your truck. Like, it needs to be like up. You're not bending your spokes. You're not bending like your gear plates or whatever those things are. Like, there's so much shit on a bike that gets damaged. In fact, my poor mountain bike is getting more beat up taking it in and out of the shed. Yeah. With my other kids' bikes. Their bikes don't give a shit, but my bike's nice. I'm like,
I know, you have a tangle of bikes together.
Oh my God. So I literally just this weekend, weekend before last, I was like rearranging some stuff. So I like took my bike out, rearranged some stuff, and I put my bike in at the very end. I stacked everybody's shit in there, and I was like, slipped it right in the middle. Funny. So it's just like nothing's touching it. So I'm like, man, my bike's getting more damage in the back of the truck, transport, or storage than riding it. And I never thought about that. The bike, I just didn't care, I guess, back then.
Well, you didn't have
no, but I can imagine you buy that $5,000 bike, or I don't know how much your Santa Cruz 5010 is.
Don't
but
touch
I bet
it.
it's I bet you don't want to like any damage that sustains is from you ripping on it.
Totally.
Because that's justifiable.
Yeah, when my kids run into it, I'm like, no.
Lee, have you ever had a sick ass bike stolen?
Yes, I have actually, but it wasn't. Remember Falcore I was telling you about?
Yeah. No way.
Falcore, the luck dragon, got stolen when I was in Prescott. It was like the last. It was like one of the last couple weeks I was there. It was actually inside of a building, like where we had our school at. Someone came in, opened the door, grabbed it, and like took off. So after school, I'm like, "Where's my bike at?"
Falcore's gone.
Falcore's gone. So
brutal.
I got a question. We talked a lot about building the trails, and a lot of the stuff was in the summertime. What is the maintenance or the building of the trail come wintertime?
Oh yeah,
man. We never got into that.
Yeah, totally.
We gotta dive into that for sure.
And this is something that we are.
Do you want one more?
I'm good right now. Actually.
Are you okay?
You. We're kind of in the process of figuring that out more and more. So this is our winter grooming that we've been doing.
You got a cool picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
I saw a little groomery. It's almost like a snow machine or something that had like a.
It's definitely behind a snow machine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we got a couple things. We got a snow machine, and then we can pull that grooming attachment behind it.
Okay.
And then we also bought this thing that's called a snow dawg, and it's like a smaller tracked. And it only leaves like a.
I saw that. It looked like a mini like snowblower.
Yeah,
almost.
it's like kind of like a snowblower but you're standing in a sled behind it, and you're like holding on to it. Yep, that's it right there.
Okay,
that's it right
that's
there.
That's like a Frankenstein built like jet sled attached to like a snow machine tunnel with handlebars from a lawnmower or something. Totally, what the hell is that?
I know
thing?
These guys. I think they're like in Minnesota or something. Build these, and they do like track and groom all over the place, and
it breaks trail.
Yeah,
because that's a fresh, ungroomed, untouched trail right there.
Yeah, and you can see it's just mobbing right through there.
Oh shit!
So we're super stoked. We got the snow machine last year.
Oh wait a minute, hold on. That's a motorized. So like the front of the sled. Okay, hold on. So you stand in that back sled, hold the bars. The throttle looks like it's on the left side.
Yep, right there.
Okay, and so that's a track-driven like little machine on the front.
Yeah, so the front is the track, and then but you're standing in the sled that's
compacting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of an interesting
setup.
So
like chews through that snow and drags that body weight, and it just kind of chugs along.
Yeah, just mobs it.
A couple 2 or 3 miles an hour, just
just kind of. You can go a little bit faster, but not as fast as snow machine or something.
Depending on snow depth too, I'm sure it bogs down or whatever.
The cool thing is that a guy had bought one of these a couple years ago, and we got it used from him, and it was actually 4 of our like hardcore members at STA. We're like, hey, we found this. Someone's selling this used snow dog. We're gonna buy it for you guys.
Oh, that's way cool.
Sweet.
Oh,
so it's 4 guys that came together, bought that for us, and we've been using it. It's been great.
Snow dog.
How do you schedule that? Like going out and doing it? Who's doing it? And
yeah, we have a kind of a small group of the groomers. Most of them are on our board, and so we're starting to get kind of figure that out. There's like a point person in Kincaid and point person at Hilltop or Hillside to kind of organize that. But, this is kind of like our second year that we're really doing it. So we're kind of learning as it goes. We'd like to get kind of more people involved, but it's great because people are always chomping at the bit to go out there and rip around on those things.
Totally. Yeah. No, it looks awesome. It seems like it might be hard you're like, oh, which trail are we going to do first? You know, and then it's like, oh, well, we can't get to that one till tomorrow kind of thing. But I definitely think I've come up behind that before. Not caught the machine, but been right behind that. I've seen that track before.
What would you say is like the best season or like month for like winter riding versus summer riding? I know that Jack was saying that he told me at a certain time people don't want to ride, say, April when everything is like full transitioning, soft, mushy. Is there designated like times where this is the best riding?
Yeah, so maybe let's start out with the worst time to ride first. Okay. So the worst time is definitely in that spring breakup, because everything's soft. And if you're using the trail then you're making all these ruts and stuff like that, which then we got to fix, So usually like April, May is like kind of a bad time. Actually, more like May is a bad time for it until it like totally dries out and gets rock hard, the soil does. But, summer biking, from late May all the way until it pretty much freezes is good riding. It gets wetter. When it's wetter, you can still ride the trails for sure, but they drain really well. But it's a little more slippery when we're out there. But then wintertime, it really depends on the snow. If we have a good snow year, like we kind of had some good snow early this year, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of these winter trails are getting all packed in. And so it's pretty much like good throughout the whole winter. The cool thing about the winter biking is that, which is like opposite to backcountry skiing, is that the more people use the trails, the better the trails become. Okay. Because they get like super packed in. Whereas like when you're like skiing at Alyeska or whatever, it's like you don't want anyone there on a powder day, right? Steal your powder. But here it's like, and it's kind of cool because it makes this community driven thing where everyone's like, oh, hey, I'm going to go out there and pack this trail tonight. Anyone want to come with me? Let's pack it down. And then let's go ride it the next day. So it's kind of a...
So like today it snowed maybe, 5 to 7 inches, maybe a little bit more on the hillside. Yep. So you'd say today's Tuesday, Thursday, it's going to be hot. Like people are going out like tonight, maybe tomorrow to go pack it down.
Yeah, like people are probably out there tonight packing down trails with their snowshoes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And then, tomorrow will probably be good riding. And then Thursday, if it hasn't snowed again, it'll be even better. So
nice. Jack, did you have some trivia action?
Yeah, I have trivia.
All right, let's cue up the pretty much the best trivia soundage you've ever heard in your life. Trivia time. Trivia. with Jack Lau.
All right. Well, all my trivia the trivia we're going to start with, Lee's going to have to be like a bystander for. So
Sounds good.
maybe he can.
Oh, because he knows the answers?
Let's see if he can guess the correct answer, but I know he will be able to.
All right, I guess last.
So he actually gave this one away, but how many miles of trail has Single Track Advocates put into Anchorage?
I'm going to say right off the bat 400.
400 miles?
400 miles.
Dang, Lee just laughed.
I know.
He was like,
That's
wow,
a lot.
400
Now
miles.
thinking about it, that's quite a lot. Maybe that's the end goal.
You pulled a me there. Just
Yep.
went for it.
400.
400
Go ahead, Brandon.
miles. Do we have 400 miles of roads? Maybe. Yeah, we probably do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we have 400 miles.
168.
168. It was 30, which, right? Okay. But 30 is a shitload.
Now that we finished that trail, it's like 36 miles.
With Hemlock?
With Hemlock,
All right.
yeah.
36 miles.
I was
All
way out. You said 400?
Yeah.
All
man.
right.
Hey, listen.
Bigger
I'm
go
all
home,
in
huh?
on Single Track Advocates.
Yeah,
I'm trying to have the whole hillside be a trail.
someday.
He's like, can I
400
get a
miles
trail to
back and forth.
Wasilla?
So Lee's an awesome dude. So the first time we met was like
Def.
3 or 4 weeks ago, and he came over and dropped off a book for me.
Oh, what?
And we read it, and
Together?
me and the twins loved the fucking book.
Oh, awesome.
So Lee wrote a book.
Gregory's Terrible Eater.
It's not about bowling. So all right. So
My middle name is cool.
what's the book's name?
Tron.
And if you know the book's name, what's it about?
Ooh. It's not about bowling. Is it about bike riding?
So
Gotta have some hints, man. There's a lot of books out there. Okay, he brought in a book.
yeah.
So you wanted us to guess the name of the book and what it's
Well,
about.
if you knew the name of the book.
Oh, if I knew the name of the book.
Yeah.
Can I get the first letter?
W.
Shit.
The story of Tron, a journey from Reno to Alaska.
That's the next one. That's the next one that's coming out.
that book is in the making.
Is it a kid's book?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a kid's book.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It starts with a W?
Yeah.
I thought this was a guess about what the book is about, not the
Okay.
name of
No, the name of the book.
Okay, I'm going
No,
to
it's
make
not
it
the
A,
name of the
B,
book.
and C.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
So
multiple choice?
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
Now we're
first time
talking,
ever?
Jackie.
Oh,
God,
Jack,
let me
bring
cue
it
up the
on.
music one more time, man.
Dude,
Turbo
bring
choice
it. I
now.
asked for multiple choice multiple times.
Welcome to Single Track Advocates.
Okay.
This is the first book.
Okay.
Okay.
That's A.
Yeah.
Definitely not
Welcome to Earth is the second name it could be.
that. Okay, B.
And Welcome to Tron's Theory is the third one.
Ooh, I'm going to go with B. Welcome to Earth.
I'm gonna go with C, man.
Yeah. Welcome to Earth is the book's name. Yeah.
Do I win one of Tron's bikes?
He's right there.
No, definitely not.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah, don't look at me for
I
that.
win the Giants.
Yeah.
I get your bike, dude, from your shed. Promise. I'll put one of the things on the back of my truck.
The tire's flat right now, so you're gonna have to air that up.
So tell us about the Welcome to Earth, fellow human.
All right. So I love nerding out about stuff and how the world works. And, you know, I've always wanted to write this book. And after I had kids, I'm like, man, what's the best way to explain, like, you know, how the earth came to be and all that stuff. And, you know, there's all these super long books about how to do it. It just takes way too much time to read the whole thing. I'm like, I'm making a kid's book that goes from like the Big Bang to right now, and it uses your body as the timeline of the universe. So it starts at the bottom of your feet.
Okay.
That's when the universe started, and then the top of your head is right now. And so, like, our galaxy formed, like, at your knees, and, like, the solar system formed at your belly button.
Got it.
And, like, first life happened at your chest. And then, like, our ancestors create fire in, like, thickness of one of your hairs. So it's just like a cool way to like think about
Way
it.
badass.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super. And once I ran all the like the ratios and stuff
Yeah.
with my degree in math, I guess.
Oh, there it is.
With all that brain science you got going on there.
Brain science, bike science. But it was like everything started to fit together. I'm like, oh my God, if I don't do this, someone else is going to steal it. So I got to do it first. So I finished it, and then I illustrated it too with my crappy Lee Bolling illustrations.
It looks good, dude.
It does. Okay.
You drew the illustrations?
Yeah, I drew it and colored it too.
I think my kids, Paxton, the boys' 3 favorite books are what is it? Tacos, dinosaurs, and
dinosaurs love tacos.
Or dragons love tacos. Dragons like tacos. Yeah. Lee kind of art. T-Rex Time Machine, Lee art, and then your book.
Oh, sweet.
So, yeah, man. Anyway, keep going.
That's awesome. Where can I find this book?
So you can buy it on Amazon. But I actually brought 2 extra copies to give you guys.
You did?
Today.
No way,
yeah, for sure, man. So I got it in my little bag over there.
Get out of here.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
is that why you fist pumped? And I was like, yeah, we're all like fathers and family guys. You were like, yeah, you like fist pumped. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So it was funny because when we first met and he handed me the book and he started explaining it, I was like, dude, you know what book I love to read at Moose Camp is Bill Bryson's Short History of Nearly Everything. And he's like, oh, this is like kind of like that. It was pretty rad. So all the listeners out there, this book is written by an Alaskan dude creating awesome trails for us. And this book is totally relatable for children and awesome for them to know about. And they should all purchase it. So go to Amazon. It's what, $13?
We should put it on our website.
$13.
Oh yeah. Get a link on there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, I really appreciate that. And for me, it's just about like just getting the message out there, you know what I mean? Because I really don't make any money. I make like $1 a book or something like that. You know what I mean?
That's not what it's about.
No,
right?
it's like getting it out there. And anyway, I'm pretty stoked on it.
Oh man, I can't wait, man. I got my my second grader who's challenged with reading, and so when we find really fun books, it is making it a lot more beneficial to her to pick up on the reading and you know, and so when we find something fun and cool, like it's funny how quickly she picks up on reading it versus something that's like it doesn't really grab her attention or whatever it is. So
I got a question. Do you guys ever do, I mean, we were talking about before the thing I do after school program. I would love to have someone from your guys' group come in, bring one of your guys' bikes.
Oh, yeah.
And just like talk about it and just like show the kids what's up. Are there any trails like that or maybe considerations like Russian Jack, like East Side area? Is that in the works at some point maybe?
To build new trails?
Yeah. Or is there one already there?
No, that's a great question. There's actually this group that's trying to build something, I think, over at Russian Jack Park. They've been working, it's a couple years in the making, and I'm not really sure where they're at in the process right now, but that would be a great spot for a trail system over there. I mean, lots of people live in that area, and to be able to easily access it, and it's a beautiful park. Russian Jack's awesome.
It is beautiful.
So, but yeah, we have definitely people. We have people on our board that we'd love to come to your classroom sometime, man. I'll even come. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome, man. Bring all the gear and all the stuff, because you see the people riding around town, and you got the mitts and the lights and the headlamps and all the stuff and the cool bikes, and you know, you see. I mean, as us growing up and the kids that I work with, they just got the whatever bike they can get, you know, and you see these awesome things, and just to show that there's levels to this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe give someone a goal or something to achieve at some point, because I mean, I don't know one person that doesn't like riding a bike.
Totally.
I don't know one person that doesn't like riding a bike. That's the goal of every kid. Like learn how to ride a bike, you know, and that's awesome. Let's end this on, I got some quick questions. Oh, you got one more thing, Jack?
Well, I just wanted, so we talked about what single track's done and where we're at now. What's to come? Like what else? What's planned and what's your dream? You know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll try and make this short because I know.
We're not in a rush. You can keep. We have all night.
Okay. Sweet. So let's start with the dream. First.
All right.
Okay. The dream for me would be more like high alpine.
Yeah.
Like bike
like
trails.
the dome.
Yeah, like the dome, exactly, which is a great. The only reason we can ride the dome is because it's on military land.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Because if it was on Chugach State Park land, we wouldn't be able to ride it.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I'd love to develop some more trails up in the high alpine. Would be just amazing. But that is a dream, and it's definitely a difficult thing.
Yeah. Do you have anything like picked out as a potential there? Or?
I don't, but man, how cool would it be? And I haven't thought of a route yet or anything. If you could bike from here to Girdwood.
Oh, that'd be sick.
On a sick trail. Like, think Lost Lake. Just like imagine Lost Lake that goes through, it's multi-use. You can hike it, you can bike it, you can ski it, and it goes all the way to Girdwood. And maybe it drops into Indian and Bird along the way. And you can have a beer halfway through.
Where you can have like a little, like an off ramp.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be so cool if you could do something like that. So
even if you could just get to Indian or Bird, because then you just jump on the, well, now Bird to Gird's to Indian.
True.
Right? So if you could get to Indian, you can get to Girdwood, although half of it would be on pavement. Yeah. Still cool.
Still super cool.
Way cool if you could leave Anchorage and go there.
Yeah. So that would be like Powerline Pass and then finish that down. Well, there's a trail already there.
Yeah, there's Powerline.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of thinking about that. How do you get those big ticket items? Because that's what draws people. Like on the weekends here, people want to go like ride Lost Lake or those big trails or like Blueberry Pass that you're talking about. You know what I mean? Which pretty big endeavors. If it was right in our backyard, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my dream. But the other thing too, the more realistic thing is that you going through this conversation, you can see how long it takes to get permission to build anything.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It takes years, right? Sure. So it's way faster if we just improve what we already have. So we got 36 miles of badass trails, but there's always places that we can optimize. And we're like, let's revamp. And we've already done that in Kincaid. Like 2 years ago, we revamped parts of Kincaid, which was sick. Like, let's build a better jump here. Let's build some different features here. And so I think that's going to be a kind of a lot of things that we're going to do because it's really easy to get permission to do that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of the near term. I would also like to see some more like bike parks, like skills parks at the trailheads and stuff like that.
That'd be cool.
Be really cool.
Yeah, that would be fun to have like just more things to play on and gain confidence. So you're not like, halfway through a trail and you're like, I don't know if I'm willing to do that right now. Yeah. Or I am, and I'm going to wreck real hard.
Yeah, you got to build those skills so you don't wipe out, man. That's the key right there because no one wants to crash.
Sure, yeah. You get somebody out there who's like, hell yeah, let me get down this black diamond, and they just wad themselves up and break a leg.
Oh,
and
dude, totally.
never want to bike again.
Yeah.
Because you want every first experience or those initial experiences in an activity to be good ones, so it brings you back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you have a shitty experience in anything, it's like, fuck that, man. I don't even want to do that anymore. That sucks.
Yeah.
Selling this bike, I don't even want to do this. But if you have fun, go with a good group of people, have a good experience, enjoy the terrain, the ride, the views, the whatever it is, right? You're going to want to come back and do it.
Man, you hit it on the head. When I had my first kid, Max, and like as I'm before that having a kid, I was like just pushing the limits on my bike. Like, okay, like when we built like the new jumps, I'm like riding in my jeans because I didn't have pads, but I'm like, if I wreck, we got my jeans, like full face helmet, just trying to send these things as big as I possibly could. And I started realizing, you hear people crashing and wiping out, and you're like, oh man, now that I got a kid, like I got a
little bit more to lose.
Yeah, I can't just go crazy on this bike. So it was kind of a life-changing moment for me because I'm like, well, I still want to ride my bike. How am I going to do this? And so it kind of, my philosophy on biking changed. And what I called it was I'm going to go 89% speed, but 111% style. And so it's kind of a different mindset. So it's like, instead of just going as fast as I can, tone down the speed, but then have as much fun as possible. Like manual everything, bonk this with your front tire, whip this, So it's more of like the style of the riding than the speed of it.
The quality of the ride versus the time or the
adrenaline.
Like if I got 45 minutes to ride, it's going to be a fucking rip.
Totally.
Right? That's what it's going to be. So you're getting the quality of it.
You're getting the quality. And then now that I've been riding like that for 7 years now, I've actually gotten really fast. So I go way faster than I used to go.
Yeah.
Because the 89% speed, even though that's what I'm going, but I've gotten better. So now I'm like, faster. But I have that confidence in those years of doing that and that skill that's built up that I feel comfortable doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's never like I'm just going to go, you see a brand new feature. It's not like you're just going to go hit it blind. You're like, I'm going to walk down there and go look at it. I'm like, the landing looks really shitty. No, I'm not going to do that. Or, when I go to a new spot or something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
And we're real quick so we talked about the dream of single track. What's to come? What's in the works? What are we doing as we approach 2022? Obviously, we've got the winter activities. We've got those trails improving and getting those folks out. Is there a big project on the horizon for this spring, this summer? Is there something in particular you want to bring some attention or shed some light on?
Yeah, I think the thing I'd like to say is that we're going to be running a lot of volunteer cruises next year just to maintain our trails. And if you haven't come out with us, it's super fun because we have all the tools for you. Just got to show up, wear your bike helmet.
Okay.
And then
bring a bike.
Bring a bike.
I have a hockey helmet.
You can wear that too. Okay. But I tell you what, when you're out there and you're shaping the trail and then you ride what you've worked on, it's just
like invested interest.
Oh, gratifying. It's amazing. It's like one of the most gratifying things. Like a lot of times in your job, it's like seeing something that you create. You know what I mean? And sometimes you don't get that every day. And so being able to go out there and see it. So we're going to do a lot of those types of things. We're also in the works going to try and revamp some more trails next year. We haven't gotten approval yet, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we have in the near term.
Okay. Nice. And folks that want to get in on that or want to get a hold of you, singletrackadvocates.org.
And then follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Usually our social media is where the most up-to-date information comes
folks
out.
Can message you and say, hey, when are you going to be out? I want to come join. I want to come pick up a shovel.
Yep, for
sure.
I
want to come carry cinder blocks.
Move it around.
Let's get that curve going.
I'll bring my trailer.
Yeah. Okay, so folks can get a hold of you guys on social media and the website and
be
part of it, right?
And then you'll see, we'll have events posted and you can accept an event, follow that, and come out.
Right on. Yeah. Nice. Maybe we can get you get some info on that sponsorship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, maybe Double Shovel can help provide some after the party
we absolutely
beverages.
Can. We absolutely
No, what you do is you just hide them around the trails.
Yeah. It's like, get out and use these things.
When you get to mile 7.
We got some caribou eggs out here.
I want to end it on some quick, some might be random questions. Answer how you feel correctly, okay? You don't have to expand on it and just really quick.
Rapid fire?
Yeah, rapid fire style. Lee Bolling, what headlamp do you have?
I got a Petzl.
Sleeping bag.
I got a Marmot.
Are you a hunter?
I am.
What's the last animal you hunted?
Sheep.
What's your favorite PSI?
For tires?
Yes.
Oh, man, depends. That's a hard one. Mountain biking, usually around like 25 to 27. I like them a little tough. Winter biking, maybe like 5 to 12.
Is that like 27 in the front, 25 in the rear?
You actually want
or
less
versa.
Yeah, less in the front.
Soft for grip.
Softer for the grip, but then the back you want a little harder because when you're
traction.
But when you land hard jumps, more weight is on your back, and if it's too soft, you'll like blow out your tire.
Okay.
So
bend a rim.
Yeah, so you want
carbon fiber rims aren't cheap, right?
You want that thing hard, man.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Who's the baddest, most famous biker around?
Oh man.
One name, bro.
Tron.
Tron.
Nice, dude. Good answer.
How many moose encounters have you had out there?
Wow, good one.
Oh, dude, daily.
Yeah.
Daily.
What's the hardest trail in Anchorage?
Dig deep.
What's the best bike lock?
Don't lock it up. Yeah. Leave it in your house.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh, dude.
Random.
Oh, man.
Wizards of Oz.
No, what's the bike one when we were little kids, dude? Mad Max?
I'm trying to think of it right now.
Oh,
Damn
my God. I can't even think of anything.
The BMX movie? What are you talking about?
Yeah. What was it, man?
It's an 80s movie, right?
Yes, dude.
Rad.
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 Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Rad'll work.
Okay. Your hero when you were a kid
Oh, man.
or now?
Yeah, I was super into this dude named Buckminster Fuller.
Okay.
He made like the geodesic dome. And he's a super visionary scientist, dude.
Way cool answer.
Yeah.
Favorite Alaska band?
the band that I was in called Sassafras.
Sassafras.
Yeah. Sassafras. We ended in 2017, but man, that was a good run when we were out.
Sassafras. I call my daughters that.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
They're sassy. Sassafras.
Yeah. Last question. What's your kids' middle names?
Got 3, right?
All right. Yeah. Max Miller.
Okay.
Bolling. And then Thomas Joseph Bolling. So we got a Joseph.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Claire Tobin Bolling. So
okay.
She got my wife's middle name.
Nice.
Right on. Right on. Thank you, Lee. Once again, it is at Single Track Advocates on Instagram, singletrackadvocates.org. Lee at Lee Tron Bolling for Lee Tron the man. Donate some money. Go to singletrackadvocates.org. You can pick, click, give right on their website. It's a simple process. Give a little bit back. Give some to them. Give some to Alaska Wild Project at our patreon.com/Alaska Project. Visit both websites. Lee, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you. We love everything you're doing. You're inspiring the youth. You're inspiring the elders. You're inspiring the crippled. You're inspiring the non-bikers.
Well, thank you. It's been such a pleasure to be here, guys. I really appreciate it.
It's fun, man.
This is really
great
fun.
work.
We appreciate you. Alaska, stand up, stay wild.
You remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in a competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with the Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details. Specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with the Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska. Built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products, such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they cannot do it.